Now he run DMC. That was good stuff. Welcome back to the Unlimited Mags podcast, episode 4 of the Unlimited Mags podcast. I'm your co-host Lab, and this is the other co-host Skitty of the Unlimited Mags podcast. And in this episode, we are discussing guilty pleasures. So, as fans of many forms of media, from video games to movies, televisions, we all have a few TV shows or episodes or movies or even video games where we have to just kind of sit back and admit and look at the overall big picture and really go in saying, hey, the majority of what I like about this thing is because I'm partially a fan of it. It ain't great, but it's good enough for me. It's a pass. It's something I recommend. But
Not
there's that
monster,
right. There's that one disclaimer though. You gotta go in by kind of admitting that the movie or the property has its faults. That it's great, but it ain't good. Here in this podcast, y'all, in episode 4, we're gonna go over some of them guilty pleasures. You might have some of of your own that you consider a guilty pleasure that's not outlined here in the podcast. Feel free to drop them down here on our YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to us on YouTube, that's Unlimited Mags. Go ahead and head over there. We're creeping up to about 100 subscribers, about 14 away. You definitely want to hit that notification bell so you catch future notifications for other content, and mostly just videos here as we put out more. But if you want the podcast episodes as they release first and exclusively here on YouTube, definitely subscribe up. But it's great to have you all here. Welcome back again to the Unlimited Max podcast. I got my boy Skitty here. Skitty got all the bad movies he like. Skitty like all the bad movies.
There's basically, are they bad movies? No, they're bad movies.
Right. They're pretty bad. We were talking about it during the warm-up, y'all, Scotty and myself. We were talking about it during the warm-up, and truth be told, right, Skid, like, we were even had to defend them in the warm-up. We were looking back like, wait a minute. And then even some y'all that you'll see that we had to really take back and be like, is that a guilty pleasure? Like Skitty, like, is it a guilty pleasure?
Like, we enjoyed some stuff about these
Right,
movies.
but
Like,
not everything. They could have did
you know,
something.
like, or we saw them, and then they kind of grew on us,
Right. Right. And you'll see a trend here, y'all. Right, Skid? Like, y'all see a trend here. A
Mhm.
lot of the movies we picked here on our list are like sequels or entries of a trilogy or something to that effect, like
Or
shared
one-hit
unity
wonders.
or a one-hit one. You said a one-hit wonder. Go ahead and lead us off, Skid. What's the first one-hit wonder that come to your mind? I didn't mean to put you on the
Well,
spot like that, but let's start the pot off right.
I mean, if
What's the
we
one hit?
have,
You know what I'm saying?
if we go, you want me to go off the list, or
I mean, if one that comes to your mind, I mean, the first
because
one
the one that comes to my mind off rip,
off rip.
my number one movie,
What is that?
Legend.
Legend.
That's when Tom Cruise was looking 12 when he was like 20 something with the unibrow. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Tim Curry was D, aka well, no, Darkness, yeah, D, Darkness.
Okay.
They had a few other faces in there, through a few other actors. I can't remember. I know they had the dude who played Gwildor.
Played
On
what?
Gwildor on Masters of the Universe, Keymaker.
Okay.
That's another
Masters of the Universe.
Masters of the Universe.
Okay.
The dude who played Gwildor on Masters of the Universe played one of the elves, dwarves. I gotta watch that movie again, man. It's been a minute, but I used
Right.
to definitely watch it just to keep up, keep
Right.
it in
Like,
my head. But
try to
I
see.
mean, it was, the fantasy. There's Jack, the young kid who got to search for this armor, but it
Right.
was crazy '80s fantasy.
Right. Like,
Um, it was dark, but it was still a family movie.
is it me to interject? But is it me, or did it seem like a lot of the science fiction 80s stuff that came out back in the day, Skid? All of it seemed dark and scary. Like,
Well,
I
I
go
mean,
back and I was like, it's just something about it, like, it just seemed like if this was the future looked scary in the '80s, bro.
it's funny that you said like 80s science fiction because there's what was it? There's a science fiction movie called Something Crystal.
Something crystal.
Something
That
Crystal.
ain't enough, man. He said
Crystal something.
crystal something.
I know they found this alien,
Uh-huh.
and what happened was they poked at it, and then this alien started offing them one by one until there was two left, and they figured out how to communicate with it. And then the alien was like, basically, well, you poked at me, so that's why, I thought y'all was a threat. And then
Right.
they end up being friends at the end. I'm like, this motherfucker killed y'all whole crew. My bad for the language. But I'm like, yeah, this alien and killed your whole crew.
Right.
And
Was
y'all
it the
friends?
was it the thing?
No, the
Not the
thing
thing?
don't have friends.
I'm just I don't know what you ain't even know the name of it. I know what
No,
you
it's
talking about.
because I was about to say Dark Crystal, but it's not Dark Crystal.
Okay.
Everybody knows Dark Crystal.
Okay.
Um, which is the fantasy, with the pup Muppets and stuff like that.
Right, right, right.
Um, it's called
But it's but why you trying to jog your memory?
because
It's a guilty
I remember like at first watching the movie because it was so dark. Like
right,
people were getting killed,
right.
like off, like there
That's what I'm saying.
he,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
like took the skin off, like filleted somebody in this
It
movie.
was pretty
And
right. And
in the 80s, they didn't hold that back. You know what I mean?
yeah, it was you get away with way more.
They
Way
definitely they definitely
I think Terminators is rated PG or something like that, or PG-13. Not Terminator, I'm sorry, Ghostbusters. I'm sorry. Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
I can fact check myself here.
I
Yeah.
would say I remember there was another one that came out back then.
What, that was dark or like
Yeah, well,
scary?
shoot, Dark Crystal. That was another one, dark fantasy.
It's called dark,
Crystal, right?
dark. What's it gonna be? What
The
was it gonna be
Labyrinth.
about? What's it gonna be like? You know what I mean? Like, oh, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, 1984's Ghostbusters is rated PG.
Yeah, yeah.
That's sink in. I just had to fact check myself real quick, y'all. But I mean, that's one guilty pleasure Skitty was laying out,
But
and
Legend.
we're
Yeah.
right, legend. We talked about how a lot of the movies during that time, a lot of the science fiction '80s movies, they all seem dark, man. They all seem
Mhm.
dark, right? Skit? Like,
Well, that was fantasy. Legend was fantasy.
well, it's
That was
still
fantasy. But
okay.
yeah, yeah, definitely,
Well,
definitely.
speaking
But
of speaking of sci- guilty pleasure
science
science fiction.
fiction.
Oh my gosh, here's one, y'all. Terminator 3.
Mhm.
Now, I was hyped generally at the time, Skitty. I don't know about you,
I
but
wasn't.
I was generally hyped when uh when it came out. Bro, like I was genuinely hyped when uh when Terminator 3 came out. One, because I was like, well, everybody liked Terminator 2. I mean, that's a whole other podcast we have to lay out for y'all, family. But everybody loved Terminator 2, right, Skit? That's one of
Yeah,
those
Terminator 2.
that
Terminator 2 should have been it.
say it again. Say it for them cats in the back. Like Terminator 2, it
Terminator 2 should have been it.
probably should have stopped there. Because even when Cameron did come back, we got Dark Fate, which that's a whole nother review. Have to talk about
That's a
that.
guilt.
Like
I ain't going front. That's a guilty pleasure.
Dark Fate, Dark Fate is a guilty pleasure.
It
I
is a guilty
mean,
pleasure.
it is. It is.
Even though they created a whole nother timeline, another, whatever.
Right. No, it is. No, no, I mean, it's
But it definitely it definitely the action. Like on Terminator 3, one of the ones that we
right. One of
mentioned.
the action, right. Terminator. To get back on Terminator. So I say Terminator 3 is a guilty pleasure skit because it wasn't great. Like the
But
story was not great. The
yeah,
action was okay. Yeah, I mean, we're giving it praise, but hold on, the action was fire
yeah,
when the Terminator when she was on scene and doing
right,
things and like
right.
busting it up. Like when her and Arnie fought in both the like the airport hangar or every
Mhm.
time just they had a fight, it lived up to the action. And I can say the same thing about Dark Fate. Like when she fought, the Rev 9 in
Yeah,
Dark Fate, The action scenes, I mean, I really had no complaint. You can miss me with the
The
CGI should be
super
better
soldier.
or whatever. But yeah, like the enhance or whatever she was. I think just the overall combat between the Rev 9 and that super soldier female joint was like it was alright.
Right.
And I admit
Yeah.
Dark Fate was not great. Yeah, them
Yeah.
killing off, John Connor in the beginning. I mean, does that some things that change the review? Like if we reviewed keep it a buck, Skit. If we review Dark Fate right now, as you know what I mean, under this channel, we are not going to give it the guilty pleasure treatment. Like if we were reviewing movies and stuff when it came out, then listen, y'all, we wouldn't have gave. I mean, I probably would give Dark Fate maybe like a 6 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10, maybe. No, it can't be a 7. It's just not there. 5. See, and Skitty gives it a 5. See what I'm saying? So, like, as a medium score, it's no more. It's about a 6. For that's why I'm like to go back. Most I would do 6.5, and I'm a little closer to the 6. But
6. All right.
it,
All legitness 6. I would give
it's
it
it,
6.
it's about a 6. I mean, the plot was just a rehash story of protecting the future
The
leader of the
future savior.
resistance.
Right. And
Um,
a new AI
all right, a new
with
AI,
a
new
new
timeline, new
new
Skynet,
right. It's not
new.
even
It was.
Skynet.
I know that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
but they are like
Like,
Skynet.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they what was it, Legion? I was like, for real?
This
You
guy.
didn't come up
It's
with a
called
like,
right.
you might as well said Skynet 2.0.
Pretty much, because that's all what it was. Skynet 2.0. But that's what I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
it wasn't it was okay. It was
Right.
it was like a 6 out of 10 at best. Much like Terminator 3. Terminator 3 is about that, man. I mean, we gave it I'm more like 5.5. I liked it, but I have to admit, it's not great. There are parts of the movie that did not make sense, or he kind of was like, well, the acting was all over the place too at times. I forgot his name, but the actor who played John Connor, replacing Furlong, my boy Furlong, like he was okay, he was manageable, but it wasn't the original John Connor. It'd have been great to see adult John Connor. I think that would have enhanced the movie. It would have made Terminator 3 a little bit
I
more
think that would have
impactful.
definitely I think that definitely would have set the tone because we already saw John Connor as a kid, you know what I
Right,
mean? And
right,
it would have been great to see, for a long return, but I mean, people don't want to come back for a reason.
right. Absolutely. So yeah, and I see what you're saying, but like them killing off John Connor at the very beginning of Dark Fate really messed the rest of the narrative up from there. Him not being in, Furlong, the original actor who played John Connor in Terminator 2 for
It
those
was
people.
none of the original actors was there
None of the originals made
except
it
for Hall.
over. I want to say the detective cop who recognized him. Remember when
No,
he was no,
no, no,
who
no,
rec-
no,
who recognized him from Terminator 1,
no. It wasn't the cop. It
the
was
detective or whatever,
the psychiatrist.
the psychiatrist. Right, right. I'm sorry, he wasn't a cop.
The
He was a psych.
psychiatrist. He worked with the police
Right, 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 right.
because
Um,
he
and
worked
then
with Michael Bean's character, aka Kyle Reese.
right, and then what was and then the boy who was in Dark Fate, he was funny, or he kind. I'm not sorry, Dark Fate, Terminator Genesis, which is another. I mean, damn, are all the Terminator movies guilty pleasures? What the what
Well, all of them after two.
are all of them guilty pleasures? He said all of
All,
them after two, pretty
all of
much.
them after two.
All pretty much, y'all. We gonna categorize. We gonna sum up all of them, and we're just gonna go ahead and put it out there now that pretty much all the Terminators after Terminator 2, right, Skit?
That's basically
We're
just
guilty
like
pleasures.
aliens. Just like
Ain't
aliens.
ain't not one of them I can think of right now, and that's a lot, that I would probably rate over a 6 out of 10.
Exactly like aliens. Alien 1, 5. Alien 2, which was a lot of people, our age's introduction into the series.
Right, right, right.
5.
Fire.
3,
Straight fire. 3. No, not 3 1 straight fire. I'm just saying out of
Resurrection. definitely a guilty pleasure because I enjoyed it a little bit, but it was more so like the concepts of the crossbreed genetics giving xenomorph giving birth to a
Yeah, but I'm
that
not
was crazy.
I think it's lazy writing
Yeah,
when movies
yeah,
rely on bringing, like, clones to bring a character back
yeah,
that died.
yeah.
It completely just takes away from the impact of said character's death. Like,
Mhm.
if Tony Stark dies, how much he died in Infinity War. Spoiler alert.
Right.
I'm sorry, Endgame. Spoiler alert for those of y'all, a very small group of you who haven't seen Endgame yet. What are you waiting for? Infinity War is still better, opinion, but I'd probably rate Infinity War just a tad higher than Endgame. But you know what I'm saying? Like Terminator 2, all them Jones. Anything after Terminator
Mhm.
2, guilty pleasure. Every single one of them. I forgot what tirade I was getting ready to go down. Yeah,
Same thing with RoboCop.
not being able to rate not Nan Terminator over a 6. Terminator 3, the one we were just talking about, Rise of the Machines.
You know what? It's
What do
like
we
a
get at?
lot of those 80s
6 out
movies
of 10.
a
Uh,
a lot of those 80s movies had, like, 1, 2, and then just dropped after 3.
Gone. Because
'Cause I'm li 'cause
RoboCop
I'm listing
3
them
is
in
not
my
even a
head.
guilty pleasure. RoboCop 3 can't be a guilty pleasure because it sucked.
But I mean, come on, man, like,
It
you
was
didn't
trash.
you
Everything
didn't
about it was
enjoy it a
trash.
little
Here
bit?
you go,
You
man. Go
didn't
ahead
enjoy
and
it a
be
little bit?
man, go ahead and tell it.
You
Go
didn't
ahead and be
like you didn't
serious
like
about it.
the
Tell everybody about it. Look
you
at
didn't
you.
like the samurai
That's y'all goofy
robot?
boy, man. That's
The
y'all
the
boy.
the samurai robot? You ain't
Up
like it
against our
when
up against our
RoboCop put on
RoboCop.
the jetpack?
Man, you fooling. Tweaking.
They
You
put on
like
the
that.
jetpack, had the rocket launcher, Joe.
Man, RoboCop 3 probably made $2 million. I don't even play with me, man.
Yo, that movie was crazy. Oh,
But I think about it though, Skit. Out of all of the Terminators though, ain't
mhm.
not name one of them we can give over a
That's what
6.
I said. I've been
Maybe
saying
get
it.
close was
We can't
maybe
even
Terminator Salvation. Maybe.
no. Salvation okay, you know what? I
Maybe
stand corrected.
6.5.
Salvation, I would that's the only other one.
6.5.
It's the only other one that I would rate like a 6.5, 7.
No, I can't do over point 0.5. That point decimal works, y'all, when we go over how we rate movies and stuff. I mean, that decimal really plays a part. I mean, you look at the plot, the action, the story, and the sound. I mean, the action, sure, I gave it like a 2, 2.5 maybe. I have no gripes there. You know what I mean? The story though, that's like a 1 for me. The plot, that's definitely like a 1 for me. And the sound, I mean, it sounded good. Everything about the Terminators and just having that futuristic, atmosphere and seeing Terminator. Finally, we got a Terminator movie that was set in the future. That's something we've been wanting. Terminator fans, we want for a while. True or false, Skit? Like that's something
Mhm.
we've been wanting for a while. We wanted a Terminator
Yeah.
movie based in the future, and we got it finally. And while it wasn't great, it just wasn't all that good neither. Like there was still some things that could have been done. And really, if you think about it, that's what I was getting ready to go down here earlier on the pod. Um, they could have just created a Terminator verse, like its own cinematic, like a cinematic Terminator universe. Because really, trying to tell this one movie across the board really ain't working. Think about how dope it would be if we got a cinematic verse where we got a future movie and the past movie kind of came out right behind each other, but they're like taking place at the damn near the same time, but they're their own separate movies. That should be so dope. That'd be
Yeah.
so hot. That'd be hot. But no, we got these individual movies where Terminator might have been better as a shared cinematic universe, like what we're getting with Transformers: Rise of the Beast. I know that's a movie you just recently seen. Is it a guilty pleasure skit or what? Like, what do you got for us? What you got for us on Rise of the
I'll
Beast? Now,
have
a
to
lot of
say
I know a lot of the
say, I'm a fan of the Generation 2 Transformers,
right,
and seeing RC Mirage, it was good, but I definitely had some, like, it was certain stuff about the movie, like, I ain't it was funny,
right.
but certain jokes was like, "Eh, y'all coulda came up with something else."
Right.
I didn't. Me and a old coworker of mine was talking. We definitely didn't like what they did with Will Jack.
Will
Like
Jack.
they definitely thumbs him down. Um, at this time and point, I still like what they did with Optimus. Him still not, this is still his introduction with humans. You know what I
Right.
mean? Their human interaction, I will say, I mean, it's with the Bumblebee series and this new one, I'm going to say that it was a lot better than the other movies.
Okay.
The other movies. Now, I do like the fact that you do get an urban aspect, Latino dude growing up in the Bronx, well, New York,
Yeah,
you
but he
know.
reminds everybody like every other freaking frame.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
But
and
we're not
then
here for that. We're not here for New York City, set
yeah,
fallouts.
yeah, but that's the thing. See, that's the thing. Like, what they need to do, and this is what I said before. Like, instead of telling a story after they got to Earth, tell the story before they got to Earth.
They
Like
kinda
that.
tried that they tried that though, sorry to cut you off, but they tried that in Bumblebee. They
No,
tried they tried that in Bumblebee, where they
no, I'm talking about like what they doing on Netflix. What they did on Netflix. Like on Netflix, they told the story before they got to Earth, before Bumblebee even joined the auto. When Bumblebee was like a runner before
so
he.
you mean alright, so then it wouldn't be an Earth-based Transformers movie then.
Oh,
They
that's
ain't
what I'm
gonna do
saying.
that. That would run them
I
like
mean, here's the thing,
man,
and
that
I
would run
mean,
them
and,
like
and
crazy.
Hasbro, hear me out here. Your best Transformer games, your best Transformer TV show,
Right.
Beast Wars, because think about it. Main reason why people came to see the movie was because of Beast Wars. Most of the Transformer fans that wanted to see that movie watched Beast Wars as a kid.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
watched Beast Wars as a kid.
Yeah, but
I
that
watched
might be
Beast
true.
Wars as a
A lot
kid.
of people our age demographic did, but if you 20, 25 years old going to the movie theater right now, you
Right,
did not watch
right,
Beast
right,
Wars,
right, right.
right? Like, you know what I mean? So, and those are the demographic that Hasbro and them is trying to target with especially with a movie like Rise of the Beast. Like
Yeah,
they wanna attract so in my opinion, I think what happened with Rise of the Beast, they saw the Maximals and it's just like the Dinobots in Age of Extinction. "Oh, those look cool. Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Oh, we're gonna get the Dinobots. This is Maximus I mean, Optimus Prime freaking riding a goddamn Tyrannosaurus Rex in all metal." And we
yeah,
saw that in the trailer. Everybody got hyped, but then Age of Extinction came around, and then he's only riding around in it like
yeah. And
the last few minutes of the movie. They weren't even
that
really
was
prominently featured.
another gripe
Right, with
that I had with
Rise of the
Rise of the
Beast
Beast.
did the same exact thing.
I would have liked to seen, instead of them talking, like you barely heard Cheetor, which again, Cheetor, he was the one that talked
None
the
of them.
most.
They all really spoke at towards the end and showed it.
Rhinox, he ain't say nothing through the whole joint. Like he barely said 2 words.
Nah, but we had to hear "I'm from Bronx" though. Every
Air
other
Razor, hold on.
e
Air
you know what
Razor
I'm saying?
had more of a dialogue than any of them. Optimus Primal, he had a dialogue, but here's the issue. I would have loved to see them in their robot forms rather than them being in their beast forms throughout
I
the
know,
entire
right,
movie.
and they
And
weren't.
also, oh, go ahead.
They showed up spoiler alert now, you've been warned here, if spoilers aren't your cup of
Yeah.
tea, then put the cup down, slide it to the next person here, skip this part of the pod, but
Now,
they showed their robotic forms predominantly towards the end of the film,
yeah.
and this is the same bait and switch they did with Age of Extinction. They showed us
Mhm.
the Dinobots prominently in the trailer, and we didn't get the Dinobots till, like, the last 30 minutes of the movie, and
Right.
even then, they fought in their Dinobot form, like, was the Tyrannosaurus Rex Dinobot didn't fight in his, like, bipedal form, like, he fought Optimus Prime when Optimus Prime showed up to recruit them, he didn't fight
Yeah.
in that form. He just fought in the Tyrannosaurus Rex form, dog. So it's like
It was like they were animals and they didn't have no thought.
right, like, they were here before y'all. They should be the more advanced, you know,
Well, the
Transformer
the
species.
Dinobots. Now here's the thing. Even on the comic book, even on the the cartoons, the games, the Dinobots, their intelligence definitely wasn't high.
Yeah, but still, I'm not expecting them to solve calculus, but I mean,
Like like
they had them just like as if they didn't know, like they had no combat experience. It's
right,
one thing to be dumb, but I mean, these are giant murder. He held his own against Optimus Prime when he showed up.
right, right.
So I don't know. I mean, it is a Prime, but still, I don't know. Rise
No,
of the Beast, man. Is it a guilty pleasure though? Is it a guilty pleasure?
I mean,
What would
yeah,
you rate it?
you
What
could
would you
say
rate it?
it. I would have to give it like, I mean, the fan in me, because there was some other stuff too that I didn't like.
Right,
Like
and that should
I didn't like they took Scourge and made him Major, and I was like, he was part of the Scourge is part of the flight crew um that Starscream led originally. So I was like, why didn't they just use Galvatron? Or why didn't
right,
they, why didn't they take, Megatron? I know he was destroyed or whatever, but like that's what happened. That's how Unicron, created Galvatron.
right, right,
Now, Galvatron, Scourge was part of the group that was destroyed and sent out, was in space when Unicron found them. So he
right.
was part of that, the seeker crew. But still, I would have liked to see more like the Terracons. If they were doing different Terracons, I would like them see, I would like to see Scorponok. He's not a Terracon,
Right.
he's an Insecticon if I'm not mistaken. But still, it looked like Scorponok was on there. But then when you see it, oh, it's just a regular schmegular Terracon that Unicron sends out. And it was kind of disappointing.
So
Um, I would give it 6.5,
that's
6.5.
about that's about along the lines of a lot of we've been seeing here and other reviewers in the
Mhm,
space. I mean, it's higher. I mean, even I mean 6.5, 6.66. I even think that was the IMDb user score over
mhm.
there. It was like 6.6 out of 10. Now there is Transformers 8 and 9 scheduled to come out as well. And then that ending, we might as well, address the elephant in the room. Again, if you haven't seen Rise of the Beast, skip right now.
Because I'm about to drop some
Go
other
ahead,
stuff
do it.
too.
Do it to him, Skid. Go ahead.
Now,
Let
there
him
was
let him know
something
about
in the
that.
movie that I did like,
What?
and in the comic book and also in the old animated movie back in the day, "You got the touch, you got the power."
Mm.
Y'all know it.
They don't know it sounding like that.
Yeah, they know it, they know it.
Mm. Y'all need to
But,
Google that one.
nah, there was 2 humans on there, and they had specialized suits where they could transform into, like, little cars and make an escape whenever they needed to. There was a scene where Mirage used the rest of his spark or what was left of his spark, well, no, he was you thought he was dead, but he didn't die. He was like, "I'm still
Right.
here."
Pull the old.
But he used his spark to
Mhm.
create a suit for, Diaz, the human that was on,
Kid from the
from
Bronx.
Bronx. No, man, soldier from the Bronx.
Oh,
He
okay.
wasn't a kid. That's the thing, he was a soldier. He was Big Brother.
I mean, everybody kid to us, man. It's all
Um,
we at the goober stage now.
no, but, I like the fact that they put that suit on, and they also now what I did also notice about the suit is that it was like, similar to the Sigma 6 suit on the GI Joe movie. And now that we have said that, again, if you have not seen this movie, just hit that thing and
Hit
zoom,
the red, but like,
and
don't leave the podcast, y'all. Like,
don't
hold
leave
on,
the
man.
podcast. No,
Don't get it twisted.
just rewind it. Fast forward. No,
No, fast forward. Why are you trying to send them back,
fast
man? Get to the
forward.
spoiler. The
But
GI Joe
basically,
card popped up at the end, but
yeah,
I'm kind
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah. They
sorry
trying to
to
merge
interact so abruptly as I
it.
did, Skip.
No, you
But I'm
good.
kind of like a lot of the other reviewers in the space. Don't nobody really care about the Joes, man. We all here for that for Cobras. That's what we want to see. That's where all the coolness is. That's where the action is. We don't really care is the G.I. friggin' Joe. Snake Eyes got his own movie that it bombed. I can't even know if it's a guilty pleasure because
Horribly,
I tried get
horribly.
into it and I just couldn't do it. So that
Nope,
ain't for me. Yeah, I can't.
nope,
It's I just that was a hard skip for me.
mm-mm.
But
How
yeah,
you gonna take a character that vowed never to talk and have him talking throughout the whole movie?
because it was his origin story.
He
He
never
wasn't made that way.
he never talked though.
How you know? Were you there? He was there. My
I
bad.
like Ray Parks. I like Ray
Alright,
Parks' Snake Eyes better.
alright, you were there. You were there for it.
So
But yeah, for those of you who didn't see it, Rise of the Beast
Storm
had a
Shadow was the shit though.
Rise of the Beast had a cameo at the end that, indicating or pointing in the direction that Hasbro was going to do their own little Hasbro verse of movies. But the Rise of the Beast is bombing. It's not doing great. So
Mm-mm.
I don't that could very much fundamentally change here. Although some would probably welcome a GI Joe reboot. The last one came out like 2005, or then we had Snake Eyes. But I think less said about that, the better. But
Yeah, it
GI
was.
Joe has been a minute. I even tell you what, you know how it really would have made people like go, oh, I guess it couldn't because The Rock and what's his name, the other boy, Tatum boy, they would have been too young
Well,
during that
Tatum,
time, because
yeah,
keep in mind, Rise of the Beast takes place in the '90s, so they
right,
they wouldn't have been able to use them anyway. So belay that. But
right.
still, man, maybe a de-age The Rock or something when he was coming up, something, man, something to link those or to find a way to link those previous Joe movies, although they take place in the future. It'd be kind of hard though because everything that would happen
I'm a-
with the Transformers in their own universe, that crap just would not have been able to
right,
be
that's what I'm
absorbed.
saying. I
Yeah, it wouldn't
do
work.
something new. Do
Yeah,
something
do
new.
something new. Reboot the
Do
Joes.
something new.
But
Do
Rise of the
something.
Beast, I mean, if you were all the Transformers movies, they all of them Jones, man. Maybe minus the first one. They all guilty pleasures. Hell, like Fast and the Furious. You know what I'm saying? You got the
I,
like big
would-
shiny things.
I would have to say,
You like Fast and the Furious movies. It's all good. You like them
excuse me,
movies.
who likes Fast and the
Fast
Furious
and the Furious.
movies?
First of all, you like Fast and the Furious movies. When I did my movie drawing, when I did my top 10 movie drawing, I said that, if you like dumb, fast car action, then Transformers might be for you. But if you
Fast
leave
and
it to my
Furious
man
might be for you.
Skitty, if you leave
That's
it
what
to
you
my
said.
to my
That's what
man,
you said. No, you said
leave it to my man
you,
Skitty.
because you. All right, you know what? Front Street. This is the dude that told me that he was going to see it in the theaters. The
I
latest one.
was I was supposed to see it in the theaters.
I ain't say I was going to see it in the
The
theaters.
movie theater closed, Skitty, before I could
Oh,
go. They closed.
yeah. He didn't see. He didn't see
I went and saw The
that,
Flash. I
but
went
you
and saw
saw.
The Flash. Oh my effing G. And I can't it's hard to even call The Flash a guilty pleasure. Simply
Ooh,
because while I did, give it about a 6.5, 6 out of 10, it still was not great. It wasn't great. As a DC fan, bona fide, on the record DC fan, I will
mhm.
tell y'all, audio listeners, y'all hear me right now. Video listeners, I look at the camera right now. The
Uh,
best comic book fantasy-based superhero publisher tends to be everything that comes out of the DC Comics
oh,
pipeline, okay? Now, if you like rainbows and Skittles, which is fine because I like those things too, nothing wrong with them,
Oh,
you should probably take in a bit more MCU stuff. It's been a little bit more cookie cutter here since the Winter Soldier.
caps for sale. You remember that book? I got caps for sale. That's you.
Tell me I'm lying, man. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
I got caps for
Somebody who's
sale.
a somebody who's a bona fide DC fan. And it's not a guilty pleasure. That movie's not great. I mean, I reviewed it here. You can find the review here on the channel, probably in the cards or down in the description box below. It's here on the channel. It's here on the YouTube channel. Find my review. Give it a watch. I mean, I talked about it a great deal. More than I'm going to give time in real estate here on the podcast because it's not even on our list of guilty pleasures, Skid. But the movie's not great. It's hard to call The Flash. I mean, BVS is probably more of a guilty pleasure for me. Probably for a lot of DC fans out there. Yeah, that Martha scene, although the movie at first glance, I was like,
No,
oh, that's
the
weird.
action.
Their mom's got the same name. I didn't pick up on that at first. But
Yeah, the action was definitely on point
the
though.
action was
Like
dope, but
I have to
the plot is a solid 1, maybe. Action's a 3 for me. Action's a straight up 3. That Batman warehouse scene, still better than any. Okay, hold on, let me make sure I say this right.
stop. I was about to
Hold on.
say
Nah,
stop,
hold on. Nah,
stop,
because you're not gonna
stop,
do that
because
to
I'm
me.
about to
You're not
go.
gonna do that to me. I'm
I'm
gonna
about
take
to
you off the
drop
screen
them.
and everything. That
I'm,
Batman warehouse scene, best, best
don't stop.
action scene
No,
in a
no,
comic
no.
book
Say
movie.
one of the best. One of the best.
One of the best
Because you all
modern, one
no,
of the
no.
best modern action sequences in a comic book movie.
One of them. Yeah, he said one of the best. Okay, I can take
Yeah,
back that back.
it's at the top though.
I can.
It's at the top. It's at the top. It's
Okay,
funny.
okay.
Funny.
I think that's the only thing from DC I got
You can't
is that
name
Joker laugh.
2 you can't name 2 better scenes across the board, across the aisles. DC and that MC nonsense. I mean, you can't name you can't name 2 action sequences that's touching that Batman warehouse scene.
So we not going to name the Captain America versus Captain America
Oh, see, let me tell you, I was Skinny.
and
Skinny know that the Winter Soldier is one of
we'll
my top.
call it the Bronx jumping session. Captain America, Winter Soldier beats down Iron Man, but that
Still,
sequence was fire,
nah,
dog.
it was
That
so short lived.
sequence was fire.
Huh,
And
huh,
then
huh,
let's not get
huh. That's
hold
all it
on.
was, and it was done. What we saw, Batman straight up can't. It was tactic. It was intelligence, man. It wasn't just no pum super strength, relying on we're copying his combat pattern movements. You know what I'm saying? Guri gato type time. No, this was Batman straight up
Yeah,
just yanking cats.
okay.
All right, I tell you what, watch this, y'all. It was straight Batman, straight yanking cats. If you ain't seen BVS, that warehouse scene, don't even get me started. I'm jumping here, but don't even get me started on the Wonder Woman when she showed up at the end. And that I ain't gonna do it now because we don't get a copyright hit. Warner Brothers, they be on one sometimes. I ain't gonna lie. But
They
when
do
Wonder
be
Woman
on
showed up at the
movie.
end, when Wonder Woman showed up at the end, and that Batman warehouse scene. Say what you want when Superman and Batman fought. Yeah, it was
That was
rushed,
no,
and
that's fire. That's
no, I'm
fire.
talking about the reason why they fought was
Oh, the
rushed. I
reason why
didn't
they
like
fought, yeah,
that
it was
part.
rushed, but it was still a
But
good fight.
that
Yeah.
whole sequence was dope. That's why I'm like, action's a solid 3 for me.
I
Even
ain't
the
going
car
front
chase.
though.
I mean, car chase.
That fight with the Ninja Turtle.
You said the Ninja Turtle. Are we talking about BVS here still?
Yeah.
Oh, y'all, he talking about that. Ooh, that Doomsday. Nobody liked that
That
Doomsday.
fight though was tight though. When
The fight was hot. I'm telling y'all, go
he gripped
back and
Superman
look
by
at
that
that
cape,
fight, man.
wow. I was like, oh.
With just Wonder Woman, Superman, and yes, Batman was there. He played a very intricate role. Again, he didn't fight with
Yeah,
all strength
he
like
was,
Diana and Superman was
I'll be
doing.
back.
He was not. He went and got the spear.
Let
He
me get
knew.
my gun.
He just being a hater.
And I don't like guns.
Anyway, he can't name. Skinny can't name one movie from the MCU here recently that's
I
been
said
better
that
than
Civil War,
that's been
John.
hold on, that's been better than BVS as a movie, but let alone yeah, not even one. I mean, the one you said the Civil War, John, the
The
Civil
Black
War,
Widow, John.
the Black Widow. What?
Mm,
Can't
sure
take you
enough.
serious right now.
Sure enough. The Black Widow,
Ain't no
John.
Black Widow, John. I can't with you,
On
man.
top of on top. Man, I could name some Netflix Johns that was better than that John.
You are so you need a pick to go with that hair troll.
Yeah. Oh, bruh.
You
Because
need a
I was about to
no,
say,
because I'm saying we talking about what MCU. First of all, MCU
MCU,
don't got no
they're
Netflix
part of
shows.
the MCU. It's like, no, I'm
Oh
playing.
my
I'm playing.
god, man, I can't with this dude.
I'm
Yeah,
playing.
yo, play way too much.
I'm
This
playing.
dude,
No,
man.
no, no,
Oh
no,
my
no. But
gosh. Come on. Again, it's hard pressed. You know how much I like The Winter Soldier. It's up there in my
mhm.
top 5 favorite comic book movies. I think to this day, Avengers movie aside, Winter Soldier is still probably the best MCU movie that came out. I
Yeah.
might have to do a video essay on this because it's been like some over 20 movies. But the Winter Soldier for a non-Avengers joint,
I was about to say elevator scene with Captain America.
right? Everybody right now, you get a chance, get out or whatever. I'm paraphrasing, but whatever my man
Yeah.
said, Vader. That joint
Do
he
you
was
really want
fighting,
to do this?
bruh. Please, the Winter Soldier still, but that Batman warehouse scene, the intensity, the way it was shot, the action, all that.
You're just, but that see right there, that's DC-ness. That's
That is
not
not
even,
DC-ness. You
that's
find
DC-ness.
so everybody who's seen that Batman warehouse, that scene, has said nothing but good things about it.
Make
And
a
he
vote.
said that
Make a
what?
poll. Make a poll.
Like a poll.
Make a poll.
It won't.
Captain America elevator scene, Batman
You are
warehouse scene.
crazy. You are crazy.
Which one was
You
more
are
like?
crazy. You know which one was more. You gonna sit here and tell me that Captain America scene in Winter Soldier, he on the elevator. Remember, it
Mhm.
wasn't that long even,
Nope.
and he almost got beat. He had to bail out. First of all, but you mean to tell me that
You had the belt.
scene? First of all,
Everybody.
hold on. First of all, did Batman walk away or did he fly away? And tell me again how Captain America left. Tell me again how Captain America ran and jumped down out that elevator with his little handcuffs on and
He,
had to and fall down to the bottom. He ain't even win that fight.
he escaped on a motorcycle.
He escaped. He ran. He
Over
ain't
a
win the
helicopter,
fight.
nigga.
He ain't win the
Come
fight
on.
though. He
Sorry,
ain't
no.
win the fight. Batman won the fight. At
He
least Batman
the
won the
fight. He
fight.
dropped everybody in that elevator.
Right? No, he didn't, man. The whole shield was getting ready to get up on him. He ain't drop everybody in the elevator. He jumped
Dog,
down
that
and had to
elevator,
like
he cleared that elevator, dog. There was
why he run? So why he run? Because
because there was other
they was
people
getting ready to get
coming.
him on right. Guess what? Batman ain't run.
Oh my God, Batman.
I'm just saying. Batman ain't run. And he pulled up in a jet. He ain't run.
He ain't run.
He ain't run.
He ain't go
So
chase something else.
yeah, Doomsday. What
He
Steve gonna
chased
do?
Doomsday. He
He put
chased
a
Doomsday.
Steve put a fitted on
He chased
and a
Doomsday.
flight jacket and ran to New Jersey.
He chased Doomsday, folks.
He did go. He lured Doomsday away from the city. You know what I'm saying? Once he got there, first of all, Batman fought. That, keep in mind, y'all. Hold on. Movie feat. See, Skitty's just ignoring the facts of the movie feats that Ben Affleck's Batfleck had accomplished up until that point of the movie. My man just got done fighting a powered down Kryptonian, and then went and took on a whole warehouse full of cats. And won. Save Martha. Martha, Martha, Martha. Why did you say that name, Martha? Save Martha. What's as much as I love Steve Rogers, my favorite MCU character, hands down. Maybe with a little bit of Lang in the middle, but Quantum Mania kind of messed that up. But a little bit of Lang in the middle. Everybody love RDJ's Tony Stark. Come on, it's Tony Stark. You know what I'm saying? But come on, boy, Steve. And I will again. I'm trying to give credit to where credit's due because the whole Captain America trilogy is damn near fire.
Mhm.
For once, we get a whole, 1, 2, 3, and it's a trilogy where I'd say, yeah, I recommend the Captain America trilogy, the MCU trilogy. Iron Man trilogy, and I don't really rock with Iron Man 3. Because
Or,
Civil War was better than Iron Man 3,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
It did have a lot of cameos, but Iron Man 3 was also coming off of Avengers release
yeah.
because it was the only other non-Avengers movie at that time that did 1.2 billion after Avengers. So it was riding off that. Civil War had Black Panther, Spider-Man, you know what I'm saying? It was like an Avengers 2.0 movie, but still, you know what I mean? That
Yeah,
Batman warehouse scene was so intense. DC themselves ain't even putting nothing out that's better than it. And that's crazy. Ain't
I ain't
nothing
going
even
front.
close.
I ain't going front. That bank scene
And what?
with the Wonder Woman, the Justice League, Zack Snyder.
Snyder's version or
Of course, Zack Snyder's version.
right,
That's
Snyder's
the only.
version
That's the only
basically
one
was
that.
dope.
That's.
Oh, when she was like bing, 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 bing,
Oh,
bing. Yeah, that joint was hot. That was hot. Yeah,
that
me and Kim was
thing
watching
was
that joint. I was like, "Whoa,
crazy.
that wasn't in Whedon's
Right.
joint."
That's what I was like. I was like, hold on. She was like.
Right,
I
right.
was like, oh.
Hey, my bad, Mike. It was just moving with it. Just was like moving. It was hot because at one point she sat still, and I see they did
Oh
it in
yeah,
Black
when she was
Adam
walking
too.
slowly towards the dude, and
Right,
she was
and
like,
she was just like, "Bing, bing, bing, bing," and
I was
Black
like,
Adam did it with one hand. Now, hold on, Black Adam, it's a guilty pleasure for your boy. That's one thing that's a movie I gotta like in silence. One, I mean, Whedon's Justice League is a guilty pleasure too. I would almost say almost all of DC movies were probably guilty pleasures, um, because Man of Steel was so divisive.
no, Man of Steel was the shit.
Yeah, but it still divided a lot of people. A lot of people were not feeling the new direction they did. Remember we talked about this in episode 3, Master of
Yeah,
Reboots.
yeah.
A lot of people weren't feeling what they did with Superman. I went in like, all right, I'll appreciate something new, but this is like new. This isn't even new 52 new. This is like them. This is the movie's own take on
Year
Superman.
one,
But it was good though. It was good. Man, it's still I would rate it over 7. That's probably about the only
Man
DC
of
movie I
Steel,
would give that would be about Man of Steel.
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman, the
The
first one.
first Wonder Woman was fire.
The first Wonder Woman was fire. Yeah, there's no guilty
Yeah,
pleasure there.
yeah.
That's a solid movie. Up until the end. Up until the end, the whole spoiler alert, the whole Ares reveal, and it was the English dude. I was not a fan of that. I was like,
I,
what?
yeah, I
Uh,
mean,
HE double. Up until that point though, especially for a timepiece movie, man, when Diana's running through that no man's zone, you know what
mm,
I'm saying? And she's just like, let's go. And she's running and she's like, that joint was hot, man. It was hot. It was hot. It was hot.
yeah,
But everything else, man, I was straight up guilty pleasure, y'all. I don't know. I don't know. BVS, especially, I mean, everything about it was kind of rushed. So it's hard to like, oh, to fanboy and glorify BVS. Like, oh man, as a DC fan, it's the best thing ever. Oh, it's not Marvel, can't touch nothing DC is doing with BVS. Nope. It just wasn't it. The plot, the rush, Batman and Superman fighting for the first time, they on screen for the first time. I wasn't feeling that. That really messed the plot up. You're like,
yeah,
really? Everything else about it, like the CGI was good for the most part. The
definitely.
action was good. The sound, everything sounded good. You know what I mean? Like that stayed down. If I wanted it, you'd be dead already. Like hearing
Mhm.
Superman finally say something menacing was really cool. I was like, oh, there's a Kal-El, right? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
because the
that,
thing is that too, like those shots only lasted for so long too.
right? Yeah,
Mhm.
they were short lived, like
Mhm.
literally,
But yeah,
like quite
we
literally,
got a whole bunch of other guilty pleasures.
right. Here's one man that's been fresh on our mind. We talk about this movie all the time. Wolverine Origins.
Mm,
My gosh, for those of y'all, for you whippersnappers, I told Skitty we at the whippersnapper age.
the
For you
whippersnapper.
whippersnappers, they sure enough did give us a Wolverine origin story with Skitty's boy Deadpool in there, Ryan Reynolds. Fun fact, yeah, that the Deadpool y'all see here
You
is
keep on throwing these terms out there, and they are false advertising.
y'all have days of future past to thank for that abomination we saw in Wolverine Origins going away into the cinema trash can or wherever dead franchises go once they're rebooted. Wolverine Origins, X-Men 3. It's hard to disclude X-Men because they really kind of started all this comic book superhero stuffy. Because we got like Spider-Man, Raimi Spider-Man, like 2 years after that. It was a good time. Remember, Skid?
Mhm.
It was a good time though, that 1999, 2003, 4, 5, man.
Fantastic Four, another guilty
Fantastic
pleasure.
Four, which is a guilty pleasure that was on our list we were going to talk
Mhm,
about. You know what I'm saying? Another Fox property, like at the
mhm.
time. Wolverine Origins was. Wolverine Origins, the Deadpool scene is what really got a lot of people what they did to Deadpool and just how clunky it was shot. But
Deadpool, Gambit.
Deadpool, Gambit, it was just not great. It just wasn't. And they tried, and they must have had such a sour taste in their mouth from Gambit because we never even got that Tatum Gambit movie. That joint quietly went off and like went away. But that's something we'll talk about on different podcasts. I don't even want to fact check it right now to bring it up,
Yeah, I don't
but
want to talk about that.
it just quietly died away. Like it just quietly. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, just quietly kind of like faded to black. But Wolverine Origins, man. If I had to give Wolverine Origins a score now, I'd be like, yeah, at least a 5 out of 10, five and a half out of 10. There's some
I
moments not
mean,
memorable though. Like what was a
it
memorable scene
is,
when he's
it
riding
is.
when he's fighting the helicopter on the bike?
No, no. The ending when the credits roll, that was memorable. Psych, no, 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 no,
No,
no.
that's probably about
No,
right. Right,
no,
yeah. I mean, the best part of the movie is at
the
the end.
ending where Silver Fox makes the general walk. That was
Oh
good.
yeah, I
That
will
was good.
say that was how it went. Yeah, okay. That
He
was
was
a really
walking
nice kind
towards the
of
beach.
like because you think about that fate and you're like, he
Hmm.
deserves that fate, and
Yeah,
just knowing that he can't do anything about it. Like, I don't know. Do you right? Okay. I stand
that was
corrected.
good.
That
Um,
it's moments like that that Wolverine Origins gives you, but you gotta make it all through the BS to get to that though.
the first operation to get the adamantium rock
Right,
with
where we
the
saw
two
Deadpool
weapons.
split the bullet. Everybody saw that in the
Yeah,
trailer.
that
That
was
was
all.
hot. Still not great
Um,
though. It's
yeah, not great, but it was memorable. It was
right.
memorable. Um, other than that, you know what? I like the intro.
The
I'm thinking of stuff that's thinking out in my head that I liked about the movie. The
right,
intro
right.
where you see Sabretooth and Wolverine running, but they're like running through different eras and different wars.
Oh, yeah,
That was
like the little
fire.
montage flashback. That was
That
hot.
was
So,
fire.
yeah, you are
That
you
was
s
fire.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. There are moments of Wolverine Origins that you it's worth
Like
it, beginning,
like
middle, and end.
artistically looking at it in an
Right.
artist type of view. Like there's some memorable, like I said, some beautiful shots about the
Oh,
movie.
hell oh, yeah.
The fight scene in the restaurant, what outside of the restaurant wearing the
Oh,
same suit.
yeah, yeah,
That was
Sabretooth.
good.
That was hot.
Yeah.
It had a Wolverine Origins had a very grounded kind of
Mhm.
feel to it.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, it was dealing with mutants with superpowers and things, but it felt very, like, just grounded, like, in a grounded
Right.
reality, the way it was shot and everything. Like, when he ran up on the oh my gosh, spoiler alert, you didn't even talk about this. You talk about memorable moments. Pause. When he ran into the old couple's house. Remember he befriended them, and they
Oh
got
yeah.
all close and connected?
Oh, when he
And the
got
boy
after he got his adamantium.
and
That's
he
what I you know what? No, what I was about to
and
bring
they
up.
killed the old folks though, they killed them, man.
Yeah, Sabretooth, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
No,
you
but
got to
when
you know what I'm saying?
my another thing when they thought that he was passed out after the operation, and
Oh,
he
he
heard
jumped up?
every word he heard
Yeah,
every word they said.
yeah, that will say I mean, seeing that as Wolverine fans growing up, y'all gotta remember for Skitty and myself, we're I mean, not boomers, we're talking about we old heads, but we're not boomers though, but during this time in the '90s, there was nothing to compare Wolverine Origins to. Yeah, we had the X-Men movies out, but I mean, this was our MCU during this time. It was just a very closed Fox-like universe. But if you think about it, Wolverine Origins spinning off from the X-Men Jones was like Fox trying their hands at a little X-Men shared universe, right? With telling the Wolverine origin story, going back before
Mhm.
it all started for him. But it did have touch, man. It did have parts that redeemed it to where I would still recommend Wolverine Origins. Although I rated it low, and Skitty, we both
To
kind of in the
tell a
same
story,
ballpark
if
with
you
our
if you wanted to tell a story, because that's basically what it is. If you wanna get to the story where you get Wolverine Origins,
right,
watch Wolverine Origins. If you choose to watch the other X-Men movies, you can watch
I
that. But Wolverine does have his own line of movies.
right. And while I mean, The Wolverine was my favorite. I can't even call it a guilty pleasure. I
Guilty
just
pleasure.
yeah, it was
Guilty pleasure.
okay. It was okay.
Guilty pleasure.
It was
Definitely a
okay.
guilty pleasure.
I mean, I would probably recommend Wolverine, it was okay. But yeah, I
But
mean,
he ruined Silver Samurai. Definitely a guilty
facts,
pleasure.
facts. Speaking of ruining heroes, what about Fantastic Four?
Oh,
We talk about guilty pleasures. We talk about
that
movies
is
that
now the first one. I'm not gonna lie.
first one was
It was
a solid maybe
it was
7,
it was good.
maybe,
So no, you're
maybe
right. 7. No, you're
7.
right. It was a 7. It was a little bit fishy, but it again, characters based on the comic book. So they're going to tell a different story
Right, but
because originally Doom wasn't with them at all.
I
He had his own thing.
right, but
So
still, there were other I mean, the first one I think was a very well-rounded movie for it to be in a
yeah,
closed universe. I really
yeah.
think it got silly in Rise of the Silver Surfer, which was a movie that myself at the time, I was like, "Whoa, hold on, Silver Surfer." I'm all in on this one. The first Fantastic Four movie, you're going in like, yeah, it was dope, and then you just think about that dance scene with Mr. Fantastic, where he's like, my man pop locking and doing a wave and stretch and like doing his arms,
You know
but
what? That
every
wasn't really my issue. You know,
that's just one of the
my
issues that I'm just
issue.
pointing out that made Rise of the Silver Surfer a guilty pleasure, both those movies, because Spider-Man Closed Universe, Raimi Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3 is a guilty pleasure for me. Y'all can say what y'all want about
Yeah,
Topher Grace and the Venom. I thought the Venom was dope. And I thought Topher Grace was okay as the Venom, but I will honestly
yeah.
admit that Spider-Man 3 was
Black Carnage
not great.
was not okay.
No, it just was it was not great. I still I mean Sandman
Sandman
was cool.
made that
Harry's
movie.
whatever goblin wasn't cool. But seeing Peter in the black symbiote Spider-Man costume was something I was really
Yeah,
hyped for at the time. So I was
yeah.
like, oh man, I remember I had that action figure, and then I saw right, and then you had the bully Parker. What I know it's just that, and it seems like that again it ruined the whole entire movie. That I'm like, I can't recommend Spider-Man 3 without one giving it a low rating, and that's the whole concept, Mag Fam. That's the whole concept behind the idea of a guilty pleasure. It's like, yeah, I'm going to rate the movie low, and by low we mean once you're in that 6 territory, you kind of got to find a reason that truly justifies why I say watch this movie. But
Right.
6 6 out of 10, I mean anything under 6 out of 10, it's kind of like I can't even recommend this. But the idea behind a guilty pleasure family is that I'm gonna rate this movie so low, but I still highly recommend you see it. I can't even do that with The Matrix, and I got the one tattooed on my arm. Looks weird, you can't see it. But I can't even recommend Matrix Resurrections. If I rated Matrix Resurrections, it's probably like a 5.5 out of 10.
Mm.
It's not a guilty pleasure. Matrix 3, okay, Matrix 3, Matrix Reloaded. I love Matrix Reloaded. Definitely a guilty pleasure for me because they did shoot Matrix Reloaded, and
I wouldn't say it was a guilty pleasure.
that movie, oh, Matrix Reloaded was like the weakest of them all. A lot of people didn't rock with Matrix Reloaded. They just didn't. Even at the time, they really didn't, and still now, they still don't rock with Matrix Reloaded. But Matrix Reloaded, I mean, I'm a Matrix fan, but
Mm.
looking back, I have to give Matrix Reloaded probably like a 6.5 out of 10. Okay, it's not a 7. The CGI has not aged well.
Yeah. Okay.
It was not good during the time, but it has not aged well. But just that
The martial arts wasn't like well,
the
I
martial
will
arts
say this.
was okay. I think introducing more fable like creatures like the Merovingian and the vampires and what have you, and
I would
werewolves.
say one of my favorite scenes in Reloaded was the introduction of Seraph. That fight scene was fire.
Yeah, that fight scene was dope.
Yeah.
It was done well in the video game too, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, that fight scene was dope.
That
I
game
like
was
that.
a guilty pleasure. Enter the
Oh my gosh,
Matrix.
don't even get me started right there. I only played it because I was a Matrix fan. I was like, "What am I
What?
doing on?" I would have been put this controller down.
Yes,
I
yes,
couldn't rock with
yes.
it. But
Um,
Matrix, guilty pleasure for me. Spider-Man 3, guilty pleasure for me. Again, I can't Matrix 4, I can't even recommend it. Like I'm just straight up like that movie could have been so much better that it's a hard watch. Spider-Man 3,
another
Spider-Man 3, I would recommend, although I would admit that it has its flaws and I can't rate it high, but I still think it's a good way to see Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, his franchise kind of conclude because he did come back and oh my gosh, it should not be a spoiler, but he did come back in No Way Home. But Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer was a highly anticipated movie, and it was so bad it killed the franchise altogether. That was it. That was it. I did not like how the thing looked. I still think, I mean, CGI might be the best way for them to go, although in Josh Franks or whatever, his Fantastic Four, it wasn't great. But every other character, I think uh Chris
I didn't have
Evans,
an issue with the thing. I had
Chris
an issue with Invisible Woman.
Chris Evans as the Human Torch was a brilliant cast at the time.
Perfect, perfect,
Perfect cast at the time.
perfect.
Oh, I thought they nailed Johnny Storm to a T when I first saw it.
I mean,
Even
I feel as though the cast they got correct. like the cast was cool.
Right.
It's what they did with the cast. I mean, like I said, I didn't have an issue with what the way the thing looked like, especially what we got previous before that in the '90s, like the Fantastic Four movie that shall not be named that never made it to the theaters.
Right. I mean, the 20 Josh Frank's Fantastic Four, the thing looked horrible and it was CGI. I'm
No, I'm
saying
talking.
I just
Oh
think
no,
they
I
should
was
have
talking
went
about the one in the '90s before that. The
right. I'm saying
yeah.
the
But yeah,
Rise of
that
the
one,
Silver
yeah,
Surfer, this one,
the
I
Fan
think,
Four Stick.
yeah, Fan Four Stick, the thing was CGI.
Yeah,
And in the
yeah,
2000s Fantastic Four, he was, in a practical suit. I
yeah,
just think it looks silly at times because you can see the human underneath the prosthetics.
yeah,
I
under
think
the
it should
mouth.
have for somebody
Yeah,
like the Thing, just like the Hawk is all CGI, the Thing should be all CGI. Could
CGI.
you imagine
But
the Hawk not CGI? That would look
yeah,
ridiculous. You know what I'm
that'd be like
saying?
Lou Ferrigno
Like,
all
right, which
over
might have
again.
been okay for a TV show, but that's
Back in the
okay
day,
back in
yeah.
the day. That can fly for a TV show. Now that
But
should
now
can't
how
fly.
they scaled the Hawk being as huge as he is,
Right.
yeah,
It just wouldn't work. And even the Thing, I mean, the Thing, yeah, has been drawn to be, you know what I'm
big,
saying? Like he can
yeah,
be big, not like looking like a NFL fullback out here. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like, but everything, I mean, Mr. Fantastic, I can't remember the actor's name, but I thought the casting, he looked good. Like he looked like the action figure I had back in the day.
He's a British actor.
Jessica Alba is fantastic. I mean, as Miss
The
Fantastic.
first one, on the first one, she was cool. She looked the part. On the
Right.
second one, I don't know what the hell they was doing
It was
with
the
giving her
director's choice, man. The
that
director did
blonde
that.
that blonde weave extension. That was like that was
Yeah.
annoying. And
Yeah.
then those blue contacts, yo. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like she
Now
didn't have that in the first movie. And then the
it
second
was
movie she got that shit.
it was creative choices like that that kind of
Yeah.
held the movie back. But Rise of the
And
Silver
then
Surfer, I
Space
mean, Galactus
Cloud.
showing up. I can't give Rise of the Silver Surfer. It's a 6 out of 10 for me. The first Fantastic Four movie is close to a 7, maybe six and a
Yeah,
half
I would
out
give
of
a
7.
7.
I think the humor was well rounded. It had good tone. It was bright. It was everything you would expect a Fantastic Four movie to be. If y'all have not seen, it's classic. And I know we getting a Fantastic Four reboot from the MCU, but oh man, I am scared of what that's going to be like. But if you need something to hold you over, if you want to see some Fantastic Four live action, like it's a guilty pleasure. I'm not going to tell
Watch
you
the
it's
first
great.
one.
Watch the
The
first
second
one.
one is a guilty pleasure.
Second one is more of the guilty
The
pleasure, sure,
second
but
one is definitely more of a guilty pleasure. Reason
right,
being
right.
is because, them Silver Surfer scenes are off the chain. Like
Oh
they're
yeah,
definitely off the chain. Especially when Johnny thinks that he could take them on. And Silver
right. And
Surfer
he pursues them. I thought that was so cool. Where they're flying through the city, and these are some of the things I've seen in the
upside
trailer too.
down. It was
Right,
upside down on him. Yeah.
right. Yeah, it was
But
dope. I gotta get to it.
yeah, Space Cloud messed it up for me.
Oh my gosh, Ruin took a villain like Galactus, which is still, I mean, he's supposed to be a villain here coming up pretty soon, but I mean that tower in size. It's like, how do you go? I don't know.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, was that official? Is he officially the big bad?
For Fantastic Four in the 2025, they pushed it back to 2025, and the 2025 Fantastic Four
He's officially
supposed to
gonna
be
be on
Galactus. Yeah. Read look it up after the pod, bro.
it?
Look it up.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
I know
But
you
I
will.
mean, because the thing is that I don't know, man. I just hope they learn their lesson,
Well,
and I
here's
hope they don't do what they did with Ego.
from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yeah,
That wasn't my cup of tea anyway. You know how I feel about the Guardians movie. They all right. For those of y'all out there who like them, they all right, but
first one was fire.
it's all right.
Third
Second one,
one
I'm like, what is this? What am I doing here?
definitely way better than what I was expecting.
That's what
The
I hear.
second one, the second one was definitely like it was
Right,
anticlimactic.
but those aren't guilty pleasures. So. For
Right.
the most part, I think Guardians of the Galaxy among the MCU, those are well received. And they did pretty decently at the box office. The Guardians of the
But
Galaxy
for real,
Volume
for real,
3,
I think I'm gonna be
notwithstanding.
honest with you. I think it's more so the soundtrack than anything else.
Always, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
always the soundtrack. That's if that's one thing you can go
Like
and
with
look
Tron
forward to in the
Legacy.
movie. If that's one thing you're looking forward to go see in the movie, then in my opinion, you're like, all right, cool. Like Guardians. You there for Quill, Rocket,
Hmm.
Groot, Drax, Mora, uh, yeah, was Nebula, uh, a Mantis. You there for all them and their interaction and how they bounce back and forth with each other, and the humor that may
Right.
come for that. There are some scenes, without admit, in Guardians where I'm like, oh, this is genuine. This is funny. One of my favorite scenes in the MCU is that whole when the Guardians of the Galaxy or part of the Guardians of the Galaxy they meet up with Doctor Strange, Peter Parker, and Tony Stark on Titan.
Right.
And then like he's
Right.
like, who's Gamora? He's like, what planet? He's like, hold on, who's your Doctor Strange is like, who's your master? He's like, who's my master? Who am I supposed to say? Jesus? And then like Tony Stark's like, wait a minute, you're from Earth? He said, no, I'm from Kansas. He's like, that's on Earth. Like it's just that interaction is just funny because it's
Yeah.
genuine. Like Quill grew up in space. So all those things he's saying would be like a natural reaction to him, like my master, like Jesus, or no, I'm not from Earth, I'm from Kent. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
I thought they
He
had
still
moments like that.
he still has a like little boy mentality.
Right. Like
But that's
if he
another. I'm not gonna lie, and I'll stand to say this on the record. I don't like
what
that they did that to Star Lord.
don't like what? Go ahead, get your
Like
what are you talking about?
him being like still kind of immature, little kiddish. Like Star.
Right,
I mean, what I remember in the comic books, he wasn't petty. He was definitely
right,
a leader. Leader. You know what I'm
right.
saying? So
He can get it moving.
yeah.
But all right. Well again, Guardians of the Galaxy, not guilty pleasures.
Right.
Here goes some ones that y'all are not going to see coming. We're gonna go back to back with them here. So you can start off with Blank Man. Blank Man, for you, if you know, you know, and if you don't, you need to go find out. It's free on
Blank
YouTube.
man's that
Stop
way.
playing.
Blank man's
Stop
that way.
playing. Blank Man is that work. It ain't great. I'm gonna tell you right now. It's got humor moments where
It's
they
definitely a comedy.
it's definitely it's more comedy than superhero, but it's a superhero movie though. It
So
is a superhero
basically,
movie.
let me
But
give you a
but
little brush up with Blank Man.
right.
Blank
Tell us about
Man
Blank.
Blank Man is based in Chicago, right? If I'm not
Right.
mistaken,
Yeah,
in
because they
Chicago.
was because they was talking about how crime in the city was and
Right,
everything. Or was it
right.
Detroit?
Now, these
Was it
two
Detroit?
kids, well, two black kids at the time, loved the Batman. Was it West?
It
Adam
was
West?
Batman. Yeah, it was Adam
It was
West.
Adam West
It was
Batman.
Adam West Batman. One of the
So
best superheroes ever. One of the
that
best
took
superheroes
that
ever
that
written out.
basically
Why won't
influenced.
you let me finish what I was trying to say?
Oh, I was trying. I mean, but go ahead. You know.
One of the best superheroes ever made, ever written.
Yeah.
All right, go
Okay.
ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
As I was saying,
I don't need you hating all the time, but go ahead.
he you know they were very heavily into Batman, the Adam West Batman. As they grew up, one of them was really intelligent, but still
Like
had issues with dealing
he's
with
being he was
people.
socially awkward, pretty much.
Social, yeah, there you go,
Yeah,
socially
he
awkward.
was socially awkward.
And the other one, he was hip with the times.
Right, like he was trying to put him out there. He talked about Daryl. His name was Daryl. His name was Daryl, and his brother
So
name was Kevin. The
Kevin,
Walkers. Daryl,
yeah,
Kevin.
Daryl was intelligent. I mean, I'm talking about
Like
intelligent, intelligent,
genius level. Like I
genius
think
level.
it's cheating in the universe,
Yeah,
but Daryl probably could have been able to build a time machine if
yeah,
given enough. He built a sentient, y'all. He
yeah.
built a sentient robot that can respond to verbal
Out of an
commands
old washing machine.
out of an old washing machine.
Hmm.
Like I know it's movie lore. You're like, nah, bro, can't do that. Bro was smart,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
built a sentient AI that could also kind of try to communicate to talk to say like, hello, Kimberly, kind of like in an I
Mhm.
am Groot like way. I think every time J5 was his name, every time J5 wanted to talk, it was just like, hello, Kimberly. Even at that
Mhm.
sad part when he's sorry, yeah, I need a moment, man. I need a moment. Damn, I said I need a moment. Why are you still talking? Ruining the moment. Anyway, J5 is
Damn!
J5 is like, "Hello, Kimberly," when he's about to blow up, and it's just like it kind of hits you in the core because everybody loved J5, but he had the robot J5. But given, I bet you Daryl probably could have built a time machine if given like enough time. I bet you he could have built a time machine. Don't hate,
You hear them crickets?
don't hate. Daryl could have built a time machine,
You hear them
but
crickets?
his brother Daryl was the brains.
Yeah.
Kevin was the bronze.
Hmm.
Kevin knew martial arts. Daryl couldn't fight, save his life,
But
literally.
Kevin also worked as a cameraman in a news
That don't
area.
mean he could fight like a Ninja Turtle. He shouldn't even know
No,
how to do all
well,
that.
no, Kevin. Well, remember he took the martial arts class, karate
I
classes.
got you. I get
Right.
that, but what I'm saying is though, yeah, he worked at the TV, the TV place,
Hmm.
but like I'm just saying, what I'm saying? They got it in. They got it
No,
in. But my bad, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just want to point out his name
no,
is
you
Daryl.
good.
Daryl Walker. He was
You
about that
wanted to
life.
say Batman
He was
crap
about that
too,
life.
but it was
But I'll
all
probably
right.
pull you up because you don't even believe that.
You wanted to say the Batman little lie, but that's okay. So I forgive you. It's all right, buddy. It's all right.
Hey, go ahead, man.
But
Blank man, super
but no,
underrated.
but
Boot
basically
walkers.
there was a tragic thing that happened
You
where
might as
his
well just spoil it for him. The movie been out for
yeah,
30 years.
I'm just saying that's what
Just
I'm saying.
spoil it
Tragedy
for him.
happened, grandma
Tragic
died,
happened. Grandma
got killed,
died. Blah, blah,
and
blah. And
Daryl.
there was more. Sorry to cut you off. I just
It was
my bad,
more
G.
to it. It was
But
more
we
to it,
we gonna leave it there. We ain't gonna reveal the plot too
yeah,
much.
because
But
we
do
gotta
know
get
he
back on
suffered
track.
loss.
We gotta get
Right.
back on track. But yeah, and when Daryl's, it was a grandma. It was a
Right.
grandma.
It was the
It
grandma.
was grandma. When their grandmom got murdered by an evil mobster by the name of Manelli,
Manelli.
Daryl Daryl then thought of the idea of becoming a superhero, crime fighter like Batman.
First of all, he accidentally bulletproofs his
Ah,
overalls.
yeah,
So when
his
y'all
serum.
see him, and that's what eventually gave him the idea, is when he had caught himself on fire, and he went to put him out. He had realized like it was no damage, so he like stabbed it and saw the knife bend back. So that's
Hmm.
one thing that was grossly overlooked that should have been pointed out more in the movie. It was kind of like a big, huge plot hole. But his suit was essentially bulletproof. Like he straight up stabbed it at close point and it bent the knife. So
Hmm.
really, he should have been impervious to any smoke that came his way. He should have really been like game and just really protected his face. Or it would have made sense to try to recreate whatever that chemical was and do the whole thing up. But anyway, his red overalls was bulletproof, at least in the chest area, from what we can understand, because that's what he
Hmm.
tested. But that's what gave him the idea to like, oh, I mean, be a superhero. And I can really go out here and get it moving and make an impact. So he did try to go out. He tried to go out, try to have an impact on his neighborhood. People at first don't welcome him, but then they do eventually welcome him after he saves a baby. Again, we'll kind of gloss over the details so the movie is still kind of fun for you to walk through.
Hmm.
But he saves a baby, he communicates, you know what I mean? He gets really big with the community and the police. And just like the police do, they double cross. No, let me stop. Just like police do, they show they double side and they turn on Blank Man, and he
Well,
had to
it
go
was
and hide
because of
it.
something happened.
It
It's because
don't
of what
matter.
happened.
No, y'all need to go watch the movie because
Watch
that's
the
a
movie.
gripe I have with it. That all
Watch
the
the movie.
chief was like, it was Blank Man. Blank Man did it. It was Blank Man's fault. He killed the mayor, and then everybody turned on him. That don't work like that. And anybody should know it was Manelli. Blank Man ain't tied. The mayor dies.
They know it
Lot
was
of
Manelli,
spoilers.
but they blamed. They said that he probably could have saved them. He could have saved them. He could have saved them. Yeah.
Nah, but that ain't enough to turn on Blank Man for saving all the people he did. They
I
were
mean,
more mad
remember,
at
it
him
was all it was
than
all
they
it was
were at
also
Manelli.
because of the money too, the money situation.
They
People
were
ain't get
more
paid.
upset with the money. Sure that they blew up the money, but even still, the idea that a bank's money could be blown up so easily and not insured is
Hmm.
ridiculous anyway. It's a huge plot hole and a huge problem I got with the movie anyway. There are
No.
things wrong with the movie, trust me.
Oh yeah.
Like in terms of a CGI budget, I mean, they were like maybe two explosions, and they
Mhm.
probably used the same. They probably used the same asset for both those explosions. All right, but it was two explosions. So the CGI, they were like no CGI. There was anything like nothing over the top. It was a super practical, grounded movie. But if
Mhm.
I had to rate Blank Man now, I'd have to probably give it like a 5.5 out of 10. But I still would say go watch that joint
Like,
because it was
based on
fire
our rating, dog, right now, it
based off
definitely
our
probably
rating. What
it
was the
probably be
plot?
like a
What was
it
the
probably be
plot?
like a 4.5.
Oh, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay,
Like,
well, even then, I mean,
like a 5, like a
we're
4,
in the
like a
medium.
5.
We're
Like,
in the medium of about a 5, and that's fine.
mm,
That's what I'm saying. It's low. It's under that 6.
yeah,
It's still one that I would
'cause,
say recommend go watch.
'cause, yeah, I was about to say the plot, you know,
There was no. I mean, I don't know. Manelli wants
it
to take over
was.
the city, but she's in much
No,
power.
the plot, it wasn't just that, it was,
He wanted the
dude,
cable network. He was trying to buy up the influence of all the major Johns. And when at the end, remember he was at the cable place. He was at the cable network.
yeah,
That's what he wanted the chief executive to do. He wanted him to side with him. You know what I mean? Do the interview, but he wouldn't do it. Like he
right,
wanted power. The idea behind the plot, like all men with power, he wanted more power. He was a mob boss, enough money to kidnap the mayor, and had deep enough pockets to blow up a bank versus rob it. You see what I'm saying? So he wanted more
and to
power,
do it in satin.
right? But I'm saying though, like the action, one, because every time there was an action scene, it was more funny than like meaningful. Like, remember
Slap
when they
me around and call me Susan.
I brought the new chucks. Boom, boom, boom. Yo, watch Blake Man.
He
We
was like,
recommend Blake Man.
"Okay, Susan." He's like, "I warned you, Susan."
Susan. The Wayans are out their best, man. Typical Wayne brother
Of
action. The
course.
Wayans are
That's
at their
definitely
best,
a
man.
Wayne. Yeah,
We give it again. We 5 out of 10. We rank, give
it's
it a 5
definitely
out
a
of 10.
5. I mean, again, for our rating. Now,
Yeah,
as
right. For unlimited max ratings.
personally, we love it. We love the movie.
Perfect. Yeah, I love dog. I wouldn't recommend it if I didn't love it.
Yeah.
Bad or not, that's the whole idea behind a guilty pleasure.
Just
It's
like
like
the next
it's like
one,
it's like bad or not. But the next one is even more of a culprit.
same
This one
thing.
I'm not can't be as forgiving. But I still recommend you watch it because it's got that weird 90s humor. You know what I mean? The
Um,
culture is all on it. Got the Golden Lords,
Meteor Man.
Meteor Man.
Lord,
Oh my
Lord,
gosh,
Lord,
man.
Lord, Lord,
Lords,
Lord.
Lords, Lord. You
You gotta
stupid.
remember, they had
Yo,
another bad creation on that, John.
all they budget went to cameos. It had what's his name on there too? The R&B singer. He was
Luther
at the end.
Vandross.
Luther
He was he
Vandross,
was
man.
he was he was an assassin.
First of all, Luther is like our parents'
Luther
musician.
Luther was a hitman on that
So
joint.
if y'all need to know who Luther is, y'all need to go holler at y'all's parents because
Fun fact,
we have to even holler at ours. Even at the time, Luther was like,
he's not the only one that was our parents.
no, no, I'm just saying.
I mean, there was
But
a couple other people,
there
but
was a couple ones in there. Bill Cosby,
I'm
who
about to drop one though.
he
I'm
was
about
in
to drop,
there,
and and you as a DC fan should know this.
Here he go.
The leader of that mob organization, the old white guy, you know who he was?
He was Penguin, wasn't he?
No,
And Tim Burton's
originally.
Batman.
Oh yes, he was a Batman Adam West villain. He was the Riddler.
The Riddler. Okay. All right.
He was the
I mean,
original in
dog,
the
I
original
wouldn't have known
show.
that at the time, and I wouldn't sure as hell would known that now. But still, that's cool. But I'm just saying, like, Meteor Man, guilty pleasure, true and true.
Yeah,
Guilty pleasure,
definitely.
true and true. Following our rating system, the plot actually kind of had a little impact. Like they wanted to take
Yeah,
over a community
yeah.
with
The
drugs, and the
plot the
community was
plot
like,
wasn't
nah.
bad.
Yeah, the plot wasn't
Plot
bad.
wasn't
The plot
bad.
I give maybe like a 1.5, 1.5. The
But
action, the CGI
that
ruined the
CG,
action. Oh
that
my
that
gosh.
CG,
It's like the action wasn't bad. The effects, sorry, Mike. The
the CG when he's flying low to the ground, that
the
was. Now what
the
I did
breath, none
love,
of it was
I
cool.
did love the little effects when he was turning the soil, powering the soil when he started planting the stuff.
Yeah,
He started
that
clearing
whole
out. That
scene,
was cool.
that
That
whole
was cool.
scene kind of really hits home because of he's pointing out, and I gotta give the directors and writers credit for this at the time, Skid. He's showing a superhero do more than just superheroing,
Right.
saving a robber, you know what I mean, stopping a bad guy. He's planting a garden, like a super garden. Because remember, the next day the news came out and everybody was blown away. Remember, people were walking away with fresh vegetables and stuff. He was
Yeah.
feeding the community, and he cleaned up a
And
less than desirable.
The Bloods and Crips made
Right,
a truce.
and he brought the gangs together. He straight up pulled
Yeah,
up, stopped the gang war. Like he was doing like that whole little montage of the movie kind of like is enough to put you through it. Like, damn, I see what they was trying to do. Don't get me
right.
wrong, Meteor Man flopped hard. Like, I don't even start on the box office. Enough said, about that, the better.
And I
But
mean,
it
it had
flopped
Bill
hard.
Cosby on
That,
there.
right, that's what I said. You got to
I
kind of
mean, it was a
over him.
whole bunch of other people on there too. Like it was an all-star cast.
Right. Sinbad. Remember
Yeah,
Sinbad made a cameo? Eddie
yeah.
Griffin's in that John.
Eddie Griffin,
Uh,
Sinbad,
what's my man who played I mean, I'm having a brain. Earl Roy Jones, rest in peace.
Cypress Hill,
Cypress Hill.
um, Naughty
Couple of
by
them
Nature.
Jones. They got your boy Don Cheadle in
Yeah,
there.
Don Cheadle was in there. Yeah, he was a Golden Lord.
Golden
Yeah,
Lords.
Tiny Zeus Lister.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah, the little young boy with the my man was
no,
kicking.
Tiny Zeus Lister. Zeus.
Dog,
That's
this
his
thing.
name. Debo.
Oh, right, right. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. My bad.
His
Yeah,
name's
Debo.
Tiny.
My bad. See, he had to. Why couldn't you just say everybody know him? His mama was probably calling him Debo. Why you just say
I mean,
Debo?
that's how I was introduced to him. You know what
Whatever,
I'm
man.
saying? He was
All right.
Zeus.
Sorry, you got him. He putting my man government out too. Rest in peace, Debo.
Yeah,
Acting, play Depot. Rest in peace. Solid dude. They say my man was gentle giants, great to be around. Although his on-screen personas were the exact opposite, but my man was. They say he was a good dude. So salute, rest in peace to my man who played Debo. But Debo was in there. I mean, it's some you'll see some faces who you'll still see in movies now, or
hmm,
unfortunately have passed away, or they made some really stupid choices over the
yeah,
past couple of years. Stuff said about that better, but some of them faces you may not see, but a lot of them are all out of the game. Like Eddie Griffin kind of hung it up, but he had his run during the like late '90s, early 2000s.
yeah.
Um,
He does stand up
he
every
has
now
his
and
whole he
again.
got a whole YouTube channel,
He's coming to the Improv in Pittsburgh.
right? But what would you give Meteor Man, Skid? What would you give Meteor Man?
I mean, I would give it the same thing as Blank Man.
5 out of
Probably a
10.
little bit more,
Yeah,
5.5 to a 6.
no, hell no. Yeah, right.
Reason being, I'm
Come
not
on,
going front.
man.
Now, here's the thing.
Come on, man.
I love when he had, his powers. His powers had a wide range. The fact that he could absorb knowledge with just a touch, that was
That was
definitely
interesting. That was dope.
that was
But that's
definitely
something that they
my
should
stuff.
have built
When he
on,
touched
man.
that Bruce Lee book,
Yeah, that was hot. But
and
then
I
when
ain't
he
going
touched the
front.
Vogue one, when he
When the
touched the
Golden Lord, when the leader Golden Lord had the power too, and they touched the model book, he was like,
yeah.
and then he caught it, and it was like,
And they were slap boxing, remember?
oh no, they were well. First, they were
Right,
runway model battling each
right.
other, and then
And then
oh
they
my
started
goodness, it's
catfighting.
right here,
Right.
Eddie Griffin, 30 seconds. Thank
Thank
God.
God. Yeah, that movie. I mean, the movie got moments to it, man. Then it got ridiculous
Yeah,
moments when he's walking through the mall. The CGI was some of the probably worst CGI come out of the '90s. My goodness, nothing was great about it. He did have powers, but because of its limited budget, there wasn't much they could do with
yeah,
it. There wasn't much they could do with that limited budget. There just wasn't
no,
much they could do, man. There wasn't much they can do. But for those of you, if you don't know, I mean, Meteor Man, Meteor had crashed down and he absorbed it, and it gave him some Superman like powers. The one thing that I still like to this day about Meteor Man was that the idea was that his powers drained him and he had to sleep to build them back up. And he was vulnerable if he didn't let them do that. Towards the end of the
mm,
movie, he just started kind of losing them, which I don't necessarily agree with. But towards the end of the movie, he was just straight up like losing them, and he needed like Bill Cosby's character. He needed his piece of the rock to give him powers again to take on the Goldie Lords. But I do like the idea that he had to sleep after using his powers. I think that
yeah,
was pretty dope because it's like,
yeah.
how do you neutralize somebody who can fly, super strong, cold breath, can retain the knowledge of anything he reads for up
He
to
had
30
heat vision
seconds?
too.
He had heat vision, which was very
Yep.
rarely used though.
Hmm.
So it's like how and he was and likely he was super fast. So it was like they why they couldn't show that to a great extent. It don't matter
Well, but
because none of his foes were superpowered until
I
the
don't
Golden
know,
Lords made
man,
a
because
touch of the rock.
I remember one specific, and that's why I said Heat Vision, because you said the mall. Remember when the Golden Lords thought Eddie Griffin was Meteor Man, and they was ready to, do some damage. He was in the mall using his heat ray to
Oh,
jam the
that's right.
guns,
To jam the guns. You're
to
right.
jam the
Yeah,
guns.
right. Because he had
And
his
his
sunglasses
mom
on
was
after
showing,
getting
he
beat
did
up.
it to show off for his mom and stuff like that. So,
Right.
I stand corrected. You're right. He barely did use the heat vision.
Right. Yeah. Like when he was fighting, them shits would have came in handy numerous times. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, remember when he tried to use the X-ray on the
oh
nurse
my
when he
gosh.
first got his powers,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
thought the nurse
Yeah,
was
that's
going
right.
to
He had
come in?
X-ray vision too. That's what I'm saying. He was pretty much like Superman
Yeah,
2.0. He had X-ray vision. But he very rarely used anything out of
super
what.
speed when he was catching the bullets.
Right, that was hot. And then he
That
pulled
was
him
a
back,
lot.
and they was like, "You won't be able to be
Nah, when he
you
caught the
won't be able
bullet
to
with
be
his teeth, he was
everywhere."
like,
He's like, "Bing, bing," and he ran off and was done. That was dope. That was so hot, man. It's moments like that, y'all. We are geeking over Meteor Man. We give Meteor Man. It's a whole 5 out of 10.
I,
It's a
I,
whole.
gi- I, I give it a
It's a whole
six.
five.
5.5. 5.5.
What? You are five. It's a five. It's a 5
5.5.
out of 10.
I give it
Barely a
5.5.
5.5. Skitty he's just riding, he tweaking right now. It's a
5.5.
5.5 out of 10.
I fuck with it.
5.5 out of 10.
5.5.
I wish for our non YouTube viewers, y'all can't see the face I just made.
5.5 on the Hitman, Luther Vandross Hitman.
He rated it higher. You rated Meteor Man higher than Blank Man. I just
Yeah,
want to know. I just want you to pull. I won't pull
yeah,
you up in solo mode just so that everybody understands
yeah, yeah,
that that's what you
yeah.
just did.
Because he was inspired by the most cheatingest superhero of
Oh
all time.
my
Yeah,
gosh, man. It's like you were born with
yeah,
like hater juice in your pacifier or something.
yeah.
Who are you
No,
what are you
no,
talking
no.
about?
It's
What are you
true.
talking about?
Superman is cheating.
Superman is cheating. Yeah,
He's
okay.
cheating.
Says every other super being, cosmic individual out of the Marvel wheelhouse who's just like somehow stronger than the previous one they introduced. So is Captain Marvel stronger than Thanos, really?
Yeah, she is.
Uh Unlimited Mags family, we're talking about guilty pleasures
I mean, people know. People know. I don't have to say nothing.
and talk about
It's
Meteor
okay.
Man.
We
And
we know. We know. We know.
Skinny has just rated Meteor Man higher than Blank Man. If y'all
Yes.
made it this far in the podcast or you watching this episode in the future, go back, go watch Meteor Man first. So it's in your mind first.
No, no.
Then
Watch
watch
Blank
Blank Man.
Man first.
I'm
No,
here to
we're gonna
tell you,
watch Blank Man
Blank Man
first,
is better
and then watch
than
Meteor
Meteor
Man.
Man. How is Meteor Man better than Blank Man? Both the movies are trash.
2 words: Golden Lords. Sit, sit,
Y'all, I'm
sit.
sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me
Blank
just
Man had
he's
Manelli.
still he's still here, but I can't look
Manelli.
at him. I can't look at him and be serious right now. We're
I
not
want to
for real.
rob stuff in satin.
We're not for real.
Come on.
Meteor Man is better than Blank Man. You saying this for real?
Yes. Period.
Y'all heard it here.
Period.
That's y'all boy. Y'all heard it here.
Hands down.
Skinny,
Off
Skinny,
rip.
Skinny gave me this idea for this podcast, y'all. Skinny like bad movies, so that worked out.
Now who's
Skinny like
hating?
bad movies. But while we
You see
on
that,
Marvel, I mean,
folks? You see that?
Meteor Man, Blank Man, guilty pleasures.
Well, matter of
Solid. I
fact,
mean,
we got a poll on that. We got a poll on that.
way too
Meteor
many
Man,
polls. You just
Blank Man.
they got to go see it first, Scott. A lot of the people in our listeners ain't seen these two
True.
movies. Y'all
True.
got to go
True.
see those
True.
movies, and then
I'm just
once you
saying.
make it through Meteor Man, please make it through Meteor Man.
You'll make it
Which
through
one had
Meteor
better?
Man.
Which one had better comedy? Hold on, y'all. Which one had better comedy? He about to cap for the podcast though. Which one had better comedy?
I'll have to say Blank Man.
Blank Man. All right. Which one had better action?
Meteor Man.
They had to think.
Meteor Man. Period.
101. Which one had the better story?
Meteor Man.
Which one
You
sounded
know,
which one sounded better?
Blank Man.
Okay.
Sound. Blank Man.
Definitely Blank Man was just overall kind of
The sound.
all right. Which one looked better?
Which one? What?
Look better.
Look better.
Which one looked better?
Meteor Man.
Y'all,
Them,
go ahead
them
and watch
golden
Meteor Man.
lords, dog.
Go ahead and
With
watch
the
Meteor
golden
Man.
with the
Skinny
golden
now
boxes.
it was
The golden
fire, but
boxes and the jackets with the tigers on it, dog. Come on, man.
they
That's
both
the
were not
style.
great
The
movies.
design in that movie was better than Blank Man. As an artistic design,
I can't with you, man.
yeah, you can't. Because
Well,
it's the truth.
I can't with you, man. I can't with you.
As as
Meteor
as as
Man
what
and go
what
ahead,
did
my
what did our great Jack Nicholson say on A Few Good Men? You can't handle the truth. You
mm,
know,
mm,
it's okay.
right.
It's all right.
Meteor Man, Blank Man. Both not great movies. Some of us are going to rank them a little higher than they should, even if it is a half a decimal. That's a lot. Meteor Man's a 5 out of 10. Blank Man is a 5 out of 10. But they are both guilty pleasures that we recommend you go ahead. Give them a watch, man. Go ahead and watch them draws. They are good, funny. You know,
Watch.
you can get to the end. You're going to
And
be
then when you
some
see
real.
another bad creation dancing in the mall,
First of all, raise your hand if you know who another bad creation is. Most
well,
are
I
probably
mean, you
maybe
know,
half of our small
I was
but
about to say they ain't gonna know,
impactful
but I'm
audience
just saying,
might,
you
but
know,
you can look them up. But that's they don't care. That's like saying, "Oh man, you want to know who the Temptations was, dog? The Temptations, bruh. The Temptations is relevant 60 years ago. They don't even
we
really.
know, we
He
know,
gonna say another bad
we know.
creation. Okay.
He's just hurt because we insulted a Batman clone. You know,
Actually, Meteor Man was a Superman clone.
I said Blank Man. We insulted a Batman clone,
Batman clone, right?
which
They
is
both
Blank
were
Man.
down. They both were down, knowing they were still fire. Give them a watch. In all seriousness, though, we recommend give them a watch. But hey, Predator 2, Alien
Yes.
versus Predator. Oh, not Predator 2. I'm sorry. Predator 2 we talked about behind the scene. Predator 2, it wasn't a guilty pleasure. It was well rounded. It wasn't better than the first one. You gotta admit that.
No,
Wasn't necessarily better than the first one, but
no.
wasn't bad enough to label it like a guilty pleasure, like where it's in that 5.5 to 6 range. Alien versus Predator. I I can't put it over 6.5. I want to, but it's like a 6 out of 10. It
The
looked
first
cool.
AVP,
The first AVP.
I liked that it was a different story
Right, me too. I like, yeah,
from what I originally read in the comic books
right,
in the Dark Horse series.
right, right,
Um, I love that they kind of made a universe where the predator, that humans interacted with the predator. Because remember, there was no interactions with the predator in the main predator universe.
right, right, right,
There was
right,
no human interactions.
right,
But in AVP, they were worshipped as gods.
right.
And we created, well, with their technology, we created the pyramid so they can train.
Right, like
So
all the technology and everything supposedly came at the hands of they're not called predators, they're called Yachua.
Yachua,
That's what I said. Now he all
Yachua,
right. Now
yeah,
he
Yachua. But
all right.
yeah, the
Now he's lingo.
Yachties. We're gonna say Yachties because that's a
The
mouthful.
Yachties, yada 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 yada. It's just Yachua. Why are you making a difference? It's Yachua.
Yachua.
Okay,
All
you
right,
just keep saying
Yachuas.
predators, you gonna confuse yourself.
The Yachuas. What I liked about also I liked about AVP is that they were young predators. They weren't like highly trained. They this
I
is
mean,
their
they
coming.
seemed highly
This
trained enough, but
Well, this was their test. This was their coming, like the ultimate. Remember, the predator deemed the xenomorph the perfect uh
it was a
prey.
perfect right. But also another crime was that the movie wasn't even canonical, first of all.
Right,
So
right.
the movie wasn't even canonical,
It
first of
wasn't.
all. So it's hard to get into, especially
And it
once
was
you
definitely
realize,
definitely a lot of plot holes.
oh, definitely a
Bec-
lot of problems.
because it was like, okay, did the Yatua create the xenomorph,
Right, like where'd they
or
come from?
yeah, where did it come from?
Right.
Right,
Yeah, that was a big that was
right.
grossly,
Did
you
the
know,
engineers create the Yatua? Like,
some have speculated, but we haven't got anything in the universe. I've just been seeing straight theory videos
I'm gonna
on
be
it.
honest with you. I think they need to leave that alone.
It's
I
so
just said
it's
it.
so rooted. I would love them to, but this was what they did with the first Aliens movie. It's
Hmm.
right there front and center. They introduced an alien species in an alien species movie
Right.
because the engineers remember the space giant or whatever, the
Yeah.
space jockey, was an alien. It
Right.
was way bigger than what they showed. I mean, he was huge. He was a giant.
Right. Right.
Way bigger than, to some say that the engineers weren't the aren't the space wasn't the space jockey. It's not who we saw
Right. Well, I
because
mean, remember we got the dead engineer that was sitting on
in
the ship,
Prometheus, yeah.
and
Oh
then
wait, no,
we got the full engineer um on Prometheus.
right, but that well, and even then the enclosures were so different. The
Right.
enclosures in the Alien movie, they had, and I had just recently played Alien Isolation.
Hmm.
And one cool thing about Alien Isolation is that you got to relive that, like flashback to that moment of the movie where they first arrive up into the Juggernaut, or they arrive up on the derelict, and they go in there and they look in and they find the eggs, and you come across, you know what I mean, the space giant's like tomb or his enclosure or whatever, and how he's
Hmm.
like fossilized, and it's huge. It's even big in the game.
Right.
It's nothing like how
Right.
it was in the movie. Even in Prometheus, like they kind of drifted away from it. It's like nothing how it was, in the movie, but Alien versus Predator couldn't stick with that continuity. And I
Right.
really think it was hard to get invested in it, right? Like going forward from there on. It was hard to really rock with it, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? The action though was good. I thought the action was really dope. Like when they're inside the pyramids and it's changing everything. I think that's pretty neat. It did have some campy moments, like when the predator is just like sitting there and he's just standing there and you see the xenomorph climbing behind him and he's just sitting there, he just turns around and snaps it. I'm like, that's kind of lame. And xenomorphs have tails. They don't even need to get that close to their prey or whatever it is they're
Yeah, they
hunting.
do.
Why? They have spiked tails.
Yeah, but they also got the double jaw.
Yeah,
They need
but
to.
no, you're not understanding. If he used his tail, he wouldn't have had to get that close and expose his head. He could have
Yeah.
stabbed the Yachua from, using his tail right into the torso, how the one did anyway, to the one that almost got away at the end. But Alien vs Predator had its moments. You know what I mean? That's Sanaya Lathan in it, right? Who played
Yes.
the
Yes.
archaeologist? You know what I mean? Girl Sanaya Lathan. But
Mm.
well, it's a guilty pleasure. I have to give it. It's about a good 6 out of 10. I have to give it a good 6 out of 10, maybe
Yeah.
6.5
Yeah.
out of 10. But it's definitely borderline guilty pleasure though.
Mhm.
Definitely borderline guilty pleasure. Anything else really was kind of hard to take away. The movie is a bit dated. We're not even going to talk about the movies that came after it. Those were
Oh
too
no.
garbage. Like I can't even attribute to those being Skitty's favorite movies because they were so bad. But
Requiem. Oh.
Requiem, at first everybody was on board with the idea, like, oh, what would it be like if a xenomorph and a Yachua, if a xenomorph laid egg inside of a
Well,
Yachua, like
that's
what would come
already, like I said, the Pred Alien has already been. Uh,
It might have been explored in a comic book.
it was. I mean, not just the comic book, video games.
Got you,
But
but
yeah,
still,
but
live
you're right.
action,
But in the movie, how it was done.
right? It wasn't very. It was
Yeah.
distasteful. It was kind of weak. We saw that at the end of Alien vs Predator. You see the xenomorph pop out of the Yachua's body. You're like, oh, okay. What's coming next is going to be, spectacle, and it just wasn't. It wasn't. AVP, definitely a guilty pleasure. I can't really touch it, man. I can't really mess with it.
I think it
What would
probably
you rate
now
it?
see, here's the thing, because I'm about to eat up my words right after I say them. I think it would probably done a little bit better if the Yacht had made it back home rather than it crash landed back on Earth.
Right. And it did
You
like,
know,
yeah, it went to the actual home planet. That's something we still haven't got in a Predators movie, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Just saying. Would love that to this day. We got close with Predators by going
well,
off
no,
world, but
we got a shot of their home world.
yeah, but we ain't had no movie takes place on their home world.
It
When do we
I
get a
mean,
shot at their home world? I missed
it was
that.
more of a shot. It was like
What was that in? I missed that.
it was in the Predator.
The first one?
The one with the super juiced up Predator with the two
Man,
Predator
don't even talk
dogs, the
about that
Yatua
movie.
dogs.
Don't even talk to me about that movie. I don't want to talk about that
And
movie.
then at the end they have the
That thing is
Yatua
so trash.
killer
The
suit for
studio
the
who made
humans.
the studio who made that movie wish they never made that movie. Oh my god, that movie was so
It,
bad.
it
They-
says we translated to the Predator killer.
oh my gosh, that's not what I mean. I want to see what they eat. I want to see what their houses look like. I want to see how they vote. I want to see
So
how
what
high
they
their
eat.
electric bill is. I'm trying to see. I want to go all in onto the planet.
Yeah.
You up here
Yeah.
talk about a little shot, like if that's enough. Maybe that was good enough for you.
I forgive you for that one. What
For
their
which one?
electric bill is.
I do want to know how much they I might want to compare rates. Might want to be Yachua. That's how they do out in
It's okay. You're not gonna make
that's
it to comic
how
view
they
with that
do in
one.
Penn Cater. That's all right. It's facts though. It's facts. But AVP, what would you rate it though?
Nah, it was definitely like a six because the
Six.
action was on point.
I think the action was pretty good.
Action was on point. Uh, Specifically, CG was on point because I
CG
like
was
the fact that they got the
not
measurements of the
bad.
queen correct. The queen is huge. She's big as
Right.
shit.
That was dope. That whole end scene where they're fighting the queen was pretty like had you on the edge of your seat for a while.
That was dope. That was
Yeah.
definitely dope.
Because you really did. I mean, you knew Sanaa Lathan wasn't going to die, but then you're like, wasn't sure if Sanaa Lathan was really going to die. It's
What's
kind of
up?
like Sanaa Lathan at the end when she's helping her and the Yachua teamed up.
Oh yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And he helps her, he forges her a weapon. Remember? I thought that was really dope. He forges her a weapon and they work together. That was a first, like, hey, Daniel,
yeah.
okay.
He makes like a shield from the
Yeah.
xenomorph head.
It protects her from the acid. So, like,
Yeah,
because he showed her, remember, he put it up, he was like,
yeah.
he showed her that it was, it was not acidic.
He cleaned it out for her and everything.
Right. Like a hunter would. Like, I mess with it. But it wasn't great, but it's one that I'd
Yeah.
still like. If you need like a retro Saturday, rainy, get your little drink, your little delights with you.
I'm not going
Right.
front. Like the first one, AVP, Alien vs Predator.
Right.
I could watch it again. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
mean, if there's nothing else, if it's on, I'm gonna look over to the screen for probably 70% of the time. I'll say that. I don't know about it ain't it's good, but it ain't it's a guilty pleasure. It's good, but I'm like,
Well,
I like parts of it, but is it really great enough to like sit there and be like watching it for the first time ever
what I
again?
did, what
It's
I
hard
did
for a movie
like,
that's a 6 out of 10. It's hard to recommend it on
what I did like about AVP,
that. Uh-huh.
and this is me as a Xenomorph fan. I like how they kept the company, Whalen Utani,
Right. That was a dope Easter egg.
and I like how they brought back um they actually brought back the actor who played Bishop in Aliens, the android Bishop in Aliens. They
Right.
brought him back because they did say that Bishop was a model of Whalen,
Right, which was a good
what Whalen looked like.
right. I
So
thought
I
that was a
do
good
like they
Easter egg.
actually brought the actual Whalen,
Right,
you
into the
know,
fold.
on there. That was awesome.
Right.
Um, I think they possibly could have worked on that, but it was the storytelling that was just
Right, it threw it off. I like
yeah,
the idea that they had this idea. Okay. But I like the concept that the xenomorphs as like a hunting ground, you know what I
yeah.
mean? And brought them over and kind of blended that. And then once they said, oh, and once they lost, they made sure the xenomorphs didn't win, you know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
And
they
they
made
went
sure that they
nuclear.
cleared the board.
Right, right. They cleared the board. So
They cleared the board.
I thought that I was into the movie at the time, and it's parts of the movie like that that would have me turn around and watch it. Like that part when the yacht, when the xenomorphs and the predators first fight for the first time, in that little corridor type scene, and the pyramid structure is moving, or they find this pyramid deep within the Antarctic. I think that's cool. You know me, I like that kind of stuff anyway, like old civilizations and excuse me, like UFO or alien intervention, all that stuff. So I kind of liked how they tried to implement like the Egyptians and how their technology was so advanced, how the Great Pyramids were built, why the Great Pyramids were built. They were like this breeding grounds for the xenomorphs, and how the Egyptians or the civilization at that time sacrificed, humans for the Yachua so they could hunt. So I thought that was
Right.
interesting. And the parts of the movie where you're like, oh, hold on,
Yeah.
this is different. And then it just kind of blends off. There's like a little bit too much human action going on. But with a movie with Alien versus Predator in the title, there's way too much human talk, yakety
Right.
yak going on. So Alien versus Predator, that's definitely guilty pleasure. I have to definitely add that to the list. It's one I recommend, but I'd rate it a little on the low side. It's like a six,
I would recommend the first one.
but I'd recommend, yeah,
You
the
don't
first
have
one.
to watch Requiem. You
No,
don't have to watch Requiem.
no.
Don't.
Don't be like Skitty and watch too many bad movies. Okay. It's gonna cloud your judgment, like Meteor Man being hired in Blank Man. I can't. I can't.
Man, it's only because
A what?
you're an outstanding citizen.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you, man. It's good to know. You know what I'm saying? But listen, y'all, that's a bit about all our guilty pleasures. We think it's worth, we're worth going over. And while again, not great ones that we
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 still love
rank
them.
low. I mean, the highest, what our highest guilty pleasure was 6 out of 10. That was Alien versus Predator. That was Alien versus Predator. I mean, you know, that's about right along the lines of some of the critics, some of their gripes they have with a lot of these movies that we kind of reviewed here and gave you our quick unlimited mag score. While again, though, these are all movies we recommend you give a watch. I use Matrix 4 as an example, one that I would rate low, but it is not a guilty pleasure. You watch it if you like. I mean, who am I? I ain't you watch whatever you want. I'm just here to tell you in terms of recommendation in my professional review, it is not a great movie and one that I strongly feel you should skip over, especially being that it has no future. Okay. No more Matrix movies. I don't even know if we even want them. Okay, Wachowskis. Being what we got in Matrix 4, it's gonna be a hard skip for me for Matrix 5. Nothing about Matrix 4 was great. But some of these other, some of these other guilty pleasures, some of these other movies we kind of walk through. Terminator 3, Wolverine Origins, Meteor Man, Blank Man, Alien vs. Predator. Um, just to name a few. And some of the other ones we glanced through. Hopefully, if you were here for the whole ride of the podcast, you heard them. Scott, did I leave any out skid? I think I got them all. But all
There was one in particular that I wanted to talk about, and
what?
that was good old Howard the Duck.
Right, Howard the Duck. We wanted to throw Howard the Duck in there.
That
Man, you got
was
the
my stuff.
right. It was good. That movie bombed
It
so hard, y'all.
it did.
It bombed
It's
so hard. Like
straight
y'all got
cult
to look at
classic.
the history. That movie deserves a video on its own self.
It
Howard the Duck bombed
definitely.
so bad it caused George Lucas for y'all's buddy, y'all's boy. That's a George Lucas film.
It goes with the y'all's.
That's y'all's boy, Skitty's boy. It's a George Lucas film, and it is not great. It bombed. My man had to sell all kind of stuff to recoup that.
Well,
But Howard
I'll
the
have
Duck,
George
though,
Lucas as my boy over Ezra Miller any day. So
Ezra Miller was not great in the Flash. I don't care what y'all say. Ezra Miller was not great in the Flash. Sure. But George Lucas, director, Ezra Miller, actor. So, okay, tomato, tomato. But for the most part, that was a George Lucas toy. That was a George Lucas, project. And it did not do great. Although it had heart, though. Howard the Duck has heart. We're talking about the 80s, the one that came out in the 80s. Howard the Duck had heart. It's hard to
I'll
recommend to
uh,
watch it now.
I'll
Eh,
definitely watch it now. Definitely watch it now. Yup.
sorry, hold on.
Howard the Duck.
That's I can't even get
Howard
it right. I'm so
the
mad at
Duck.
you right now.
Yeah.
I'm so
Mm-mm,
mad at you
mm-mm,
right.
mm-mm.
There you go.
Howard the Duck, y'all. If you know, you know.
Y'all need to find
Duck.
out. Tell him, Skinny. What would you rate Howard the
Howard
Duck?
the Duck is not only, a science fiction movie cult classic. I mean, the soundtrack was off the chain. Now, I'm not going front. Now this is me putting the little boy who watched this movie a million times to the side.
Oh
Watching the
my
movie
God.
now is kind of hard. I'm
It's
not
hard as hell. I was waiting. That's why I put you up on blast
because
here right now. It's hard
I
as
have
hell.
watched it like a couple of weeks ago, and it was like, oh my god.
It is not great.
But no, no, no. Another guilty pleasure, for me, and this is personal. Buckaroo Banzai.
Buckaroo Banzai. I
Buckaroo
have
Banzai.
not seen it. I have not seen it.
You talk about guilty pleasure, and I mean it
Buckaroo
had
Banzai.
some names on there.
Like
Jeff
who?
Goldblum,
Okay, okay, there's a good one.
Peter Weller, like
Okay,
Peter
there's a
Weller. Now, for
Peter
all
Weller
y'all who does
though. I
not know
mean,
Peter Weller,
okay,
Peter Weller is like the godfather of science fiction.
right,
Like,
but still, he ain't really.
come on, man. Peter,
All right,
that's RoboCop.
I get right. I got you, but what else is he in? That's like
There was, hold on, there was a show,
one
a
show,
science fiction show.
just one.
God, I forgot what it, something five. Come on, Scott. And I watched it faithfully, faithfully.
But he forgot the name though.
God, what
That
was
wasn't
it?
the
It was the
name.
last show he was on.
But Peter Weller, no, I see what you're saying. My man been around a lot of sci-fi stuff,
It
but the
wasn't just it wasn't just Peter Weller, dog. It was Peter Weller, Jeff Goldblum,
right, if
young
you
Jeff Goldblum,
right,
um, Clancy, Clancy Brown. Clancy Brown, if you're not familiar with him, he played a lot of bad guys.
uh-huh.
Most
Was he
recognized
in
bad,
was he in the drama Arnold Schwarzenegger where he had to protect what's her name?
no, no.
Commando?
He was Kier, Kiergan, Kiergan, Highlander. That's what he's most known for,
Okay.
as the villain Kiergan. Is it Kiergan? Keegan? The dude that had the skull mask on the
I
first
got you.
Highlander
Right.
movie.
Yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying. There's a lot of people
Yeah,
in
but it was that was definitely a guilty
the guilty
pleasure for
pleasure. What
me.
would you rate it? I haven't seen it, but what would you rate it?
Like I would, as
He
a
about to say
science
something
fiction
high just
fan,
because I ain't seen it. Go ahead.
I
10 out of
recommend
10.
it. I
All right,
recommend it.
what would you rate it though? 10 out of 10?
Now,
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
now I would definitely rate it
Nah,
like
go ahead. Hold on, man. Before you
it would definitely
continue.
have to be like a six. A six. Like
Oh,
looking
okay.
back at like the graphics and stuff like that. Who was gosh, is it John Lithgow? Was he on Third Rock from the Sun?
I don't know.
You
I
know the
can't
show, right? Third Rock from the Sun.
I didn't watch it.
No,
I
I know
didn't
you didn't watch it, but you know the cat the
I
actors.
mean kinda. I kinda
I don't know
do.
if it's John Lithgow,
Kinda do.
but he was the bad guy on Buckaroo Banzai. He
All
was
right.
John Orphan, who
So
was a creature from the eighth dimension.
Buckaroo Banzai. You're saying it's guilty pleasure. It's a 6 out of 10. It's a low rated, highly recommended movie though. That's the
Yes,
Mag's concept of a guilty pleasure.
yes,
Low rated, highly recommended though.
highly recommended.
Blank Man over Meteor Man first. Low rated, highly recommended. Wolverine Origins,
Soundtrack
Terminator
off the
3,
chain.
Spider-Man 3, super guilty pleasure for me. Spider-Man 3, low rated, but I still recommend you watch it.
BVS.
BVS, oh, definitely
Yeah.
BVS. Low rated, but still highly recommend you watch. That's about it. Flash is just not there. Although, I mean, I gave it like a
Aquaman.
6 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10. Initially a 7 fresh off seeing it, but looking back now, no, it's like a 6.5. 6.5. Maybe more likely a 6. It's more probably going to resonate
Yeah.
more like a 6 with the majority of viewers, which is okay because that's about what it is. Again, if you haven't seen my Flash review, go ahead and you can find it here on the channel. especially over on our playlist section. You can find a playlist with all our reviews over there, all our movie reviews. But Skitty slid that last one in, y'all. But other than that, that's about all we got for episode 4 of this podcast, y'all. Thank you for giving us a listen, giving us a watch. If you're listening to this podcast on YouTube and you have not yet subscribed and you made it this far in the podcast, salute to y'all. But definitely hit that subscribe button down there. Subscribe to the podcast. Help us grow.
Hit
We're
it.
almost at 100. Plus we release regular videos too outside of the podcast, reviews, hot takes, all kind of just movies all related to movies, anime, games, and shows. That's all I got
Speaking
for
of
this one.
anime,
That's almost all I have for this one.
letting y'all know, we're going to talk about next anime watch video. We're going to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen. I know a lot of y'all are familiar with that. I'm gonna, brush some people up who aren't familiar with that because season 2 is coming out in 10 days. So get on it.
And they telling you
So,
you got 10 days to get on it too. They want to know.
oh
They
yeah,
want to see the video before it
I'm
come
gonna
out.
rewatch season 1. Hell yeah.
He on it. All right. Well, that's all I got for y'all. It's your boy Lab. That's when
Your
Skitty
boy
comes in to
Skitty,
say Skitty with the delayed.
delayed,
A
I'm
little delayed.
sorry. I'm
That's
above the
okay.
influence.
Oh my goodness gracious. Of love, peace, and happiness. But all right, y'all. That's all we got for this one. Thanks for giving us a listen, watch. All right, we'll catch y'all on the next podcast, which will be episode 5. All right, we're back on our weekly schedule here. All right, but that's all I got for this one, y'all. Lab out, Skitty out.
Deuces.
We hope to catch y'all in the next pod.
Indubitably.
Indubitably. My gosh, man, I can't wait.